Chapter 599. You are my life-saving rat. The distance between the 8 single-horned demon lizards and the 4 of them was getting closer and closer. Chujio could no longer delay any longer, and the 4 of them could only run as fast as they could. Master, use my sticky silk net. Unfortunately, it was broken last time, so I only repaired one. The ball of wool handed Chujio a sticky silk net. Chujio threw it at the foot of the single-horned demon lizard that was running at the front. As expected, the single-horned demon lizard was trapped by the sticky silk. Chujio said to the ball of yarn, quickly lend your 6-piece wool set to me. I will not mistreat you. Although the ball of yarn could not bear to part with it, it knew that it was in great danger at the moment, so it gave its 6-piece wool set to Chujio. Chujio threw the 6-piece wool set at the feet of the single-horned demon lizards. The wool set was made according to the size of the ball of yarn, so it was much smaller than the sticky silk net. It could not completely trap the single-horned demon lizard, but it could delay time. Chujio and the other 3 finally escaped into the cave. As soon as they entered the cave, the 4 of them collapsed on the ground. Running like this was simply killing them. Before they could catch their breath, they realized that there was a sound coming from underground. Not good. They're digging a hole. They must be trying to crawl in from underground to eat us. Shirshen said in fear. The single-horned demon lizards are digging very fast. We have to think of a way quickly. Otherwise, if we are trapped inside, it would be like turtles caught in a jar. They could shut the door and beat the dog. 1. Normally, everyone would laugh at Feng Ming's inappropriate words. However, they were not in the mood at the moment. Feng Ming was right. Once the horned demon lizard crawled in, they would really be caught like a turtle in a jar. Chujio was also at her wit's end. She had used all the moves she had. Could it be that the end of 4 of them would be to be eaten by the horned demon lizard? That would be too fucking depressing. Before they could come to a conclusion, the soil under their feet started to swell up. The 4 of them thought that there must be a single-horned demon lizard guarding outside, so they could only brace themselves and continue running into the cave. At least the space inside the cave was relatively spacious, so there was still room for them to dodge when they fought. The 4 of them ran for a while and finally arrived at the deepest part of the cave. They did not have time to catch their breath and quickly discussed their countermeasures. Chujio gritted her teeth and said, "We can only do this now. There must be a sequence for the horned devil lizards that appear from the ground. The 4 of us will concentrate our spiritual power to attack the first horned devil lizards to be unearthed, killing them one by one." Feng Ming did not have any other good ideas and could only follow Chujio's plan. However, this was a desperate solution. At most, they could kill 1 horned devil lizard, and the rest of the horned devil lizards would crawl out from the soil. When the time came, he still would not be able to defeat them. At that moment, Little Black said to Chujio, "Master, let me out. I will lead you to a place where these single-horned devil lizards can't enter." At that moment, Little Black Rat's voice was like the sound of nature to Chujio. Chujio quickly brought the black rat out and then signaled Feng Ming and the other 2 to follow it. "Mickey Mouse, I take back what I said before. You're not a giant rat, you're my life-saving rat. In the future, I definitely won't mistreat you." The little black rat brought the 4 of them straight to the center of the pit and used its claws to pull apart the stones on top. Inside there was actually an exquisite carving with a lotus flower pattern. Little black rat bit its front claw open. It dripped its blood onto the heart of a lotus flower. Chujio and the other 3 only felt a white light flash before their eyes. When they opened their eyes again, they were instantly stunned by the scene before them. Chapter 600. Lotus growing. With every step, Chujio and the other 3 discovered that this was a long winding corridor. The green stone slab on the ground was carved with a huge lotus flower pattern. Walking up to it, it gave people the illusion of lotus growing with every step. Chujio frowned. Why did the lotus flower pattern on the green stone slab and the lotus flower that Mickey had dripped blood on earlier look so familiar? Chujio's eyes lit up. This lotus flower pattern was exactly the same as the lotus flower pattern on the edge of the Great Void Mirror. It was just that the one on the green stone slab was bigger. Chujio curled her lips. Could it be that there were no other flowers in ancient times? Everything was carved with lotus flowers. So monotonous. Mickey led the way in front, and the 4 of them continued to follow it. After walking for about 15 minutes, a huge stone room appeared in front of them. In the middle of the stone room was a huge formation plate. Yunchujia's eyes lit up and she was dancing with joy. Ah, I've been searching for this formation plate for so long. I finally found it without any effort. Feng Ming and the other two were also very happy. Just as they were about to speak, they saw Yunchujio pick up Mickey by the ear and scolded, "You black-hearted rat, I was almost burnt into a mummy on the top of the mine earlier. Why didn't you tell me that you know where the formation plate is?" Little Black's little eyes rolled around. "Master, I'm the guardian beast of this formation plate. I can't tell you unless it's absolutely necessary. If you destroy the formation plate, this ancient mine will be destroyed in an instant. We will be punished by the heavens." Yunchujio looked at Little Black with disdain. "You're a foodie and a guardian beast? Are you kidding me? If I did not save you, you would have been eaten by a group of Tier 3 stone-eating rats." Little Black Rat flapped its limbs and said proudly, "That's because I'm still young. I'm going to grow up. Those ugly monsters outside are no match for me." Yunchujio curled her lips. "If you become stronger, the grass on your master's grave will have grown several times. Do you know how to operate this disc array?" "No. Master, you must not make reckless moves. According to my inheritance, this disc array is not as simple as guarding the ancient mine. Something goes wrong, something big might happen. That's why I didn't dare to tell you." Little Black Rat said seriously. Yunchujio saw that it was serious and nodded. "I think there should be no problem, right? At most we can wait for 10 years before we go out." Yunchujio put it on the ground and jumped to the disc array. Little Black Rat was worried and jumped to the disc array too. Feng Ming and the other two stood around the disc array. They were excited. The huge disc array seemed to have a prehistoric aura surrounding it. The three of them were immersed in it. After a moment they felt the spiritual power in their bodies start to surge. The three of them were happy they were actually about to break through. The three of them spoke to Yunchujio and immediately sat down to meditate, preparing to break through. At that moment Yunchujio was looking at the huge groove in the middle of the formation plate and drooling. Damn, this is some nouveau riche stuff. She did not know how deep the groove was, but it was filled with supreme-grade spirit stones. If it was not for Little Black Rat who was staring at her sternly, this fellow would definitely have stretched out her evil claws to steal a few pieces and hide them. Yunchujio finally forced herself to look away from the pile of supreme-grade spirit stones and looked at the formation leaves around her. There were a total of 81 formation leaves around the formation disc. The formation leaves were filled with runes. Moreover, those runes were ancient runes and Yunchujio did not recognize any of them. Chapter 601. Bamboo shoot stir-fried meat. If it weren't for Little Black Rat's warning, Yunchujio would definitely have planned this. She would plunder all the supreme-grade spirit stones, and the array board would naturally end. Then she would be able to leave happily. However, Little Black Rat's words didn't seem like a lie. If the array board really ended, something big might happen. If that happened, she might have to give up her life. But were they going to be trapped here for 10 years? No matter what, they could still go out to mine, but now that there were 10 single-horned demon lizards guarding the area, they would not be able to leave for a while. Moreover, now that they had already discovered this place, they would definitely not leave for a while. Feng Ming and the other two were still breaking through. Yunchujio jumped down from the formation plate and hopped on the ground in boredom. The green stone slabs were placed one by one, making it a perfect place to play. Little Black Rat and Little Black Bird also hopped around together. The three of them were having a great time. As they hopped around, Yunchujio realized that the lotus flowers looked the same. However, if one looked carefully, one would notice that there were slight differences. Some of the petals were slightly rounder and some of them were sharper. Could it be that the person who carved these green stone slabs was doing it on purpose? "Mickey, are there any secrets to this green stone slab?" Yunchujio asked Little Black Rat. Little Black Rat's eyes flickered. "Master, how could there be any secrets? Isn't it just an ordinary green stone slab?" Yunchujio was very smart. She saw Little Black avoiding her gaze, so there must be something. "Mickey Mouse, if you don't tell me the truth, I will pry open all these green stone slabs." Yunchujio took out a large kitchen knife and was about to make a move. Little Black Rat was anxious. Master, I'll tell you. Actually, underneath these green stone slabs is the real array board. The big one up there is a trap. If it is destroyed, it will fall into the 9 Evils Yama array and will die." Yunchujio was stunned. No matter who came in and saw the huge formation disc, they would not suspect that it was fake. They would operate or destroy it. The person who designed this formation core was really despicable. You black-hearted rat, if I didn't discover this, you would definitely continue to deceive me. Tell me, what are your intentions? Do you not want us to get out? Yun Chujio glared at Little Black Rat and said. Little Black Rat blinked his eyes guiltily. Yes, I don't want you to go out. You little heartless rat. If you don't give me a good reason today, I will let you find out what bamboo shoot stir-fried meat is. Little Black Bird stared at the side with his pizzazed eyes and said excitedly, Master. Is bamboo shoot stir-fried meat a dish? Isn't it delicious? Get lost. Bamboo shoot stir-fried meat is like using a bamboo pole to spank your butt. Although I don't have a bamboo pole, I have a rolling pin. Mickey Mouse, quickly tell me the truth. Little Black Rat blinked its eyes and its tears fell. Woo, Master, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that if I go out, you won't let me play with Brother Little Black Bird anymore. You wouldn't like me anymore because I can't do anything except eat or. Yun Chujia's eyes flashed. This Mickey Mouse must be lying to her again. The few little things that she took in all looked stupid and cute on the surface but were actually cunning in their hearts. Sooner or later, she would make it obediently take the initiative to confess. Although Yun Chujio thought so in her heart, her face showed a kind smile like a wolf's grandmother. Mickey Mouse, I'm very kind. How can I not like you? Obediently tell me how we can get out. When we get out, the master will reward you with hibiscus or. Chapter 602. Yun Chujio. Above the enchantment. Ever since Yun Chujio had taken possession of Little Black Rat's Little Black Rat's food standard had plummeted. The hibiscus or was the most valuable one, so Yun Chujio would only reward Little Black Rat with a piece if it contributed something. A few days ago, Little Black Rat had been working hard to dig a hole to look for rare ores, so Yun Chujio would Little Black Rat. However, she was stingy, so she only gave Little Black Rat a small piece. When Little Black Rat heard about the hibiscus or, she almost drooled. It had been a few days since she last ate it. This black-hearted master, she was exploiting child labor. Master, 2 pieces. No, 5 pieces. 10 pieces. Little Black Rat stretched out her 2 front claws to bargain. She could not let go of this opportunity. Otherwise, she might not be able to eat it again. Okay, no problem. As long as we can get out, I will reward you with 10 pieces of hibiscus or. Yun Chujio thought to herself. Anyway, the wool came from the sheep, so let us get out first. Little fellow, I have many ways to deal with you in the future, but you still dare to bargain with me. Little Black Rat ran to a blue stone and said, as long as I drop my blood on it and make a seal, we can be transported out. Yun Chujio said with a smile, Mickey Mouse, it seems that you know quite a lot. Don't worry, I will treat you well in the future. Little Black Rat jumped up and down happily. Little Black Bird curled his lips. You still do not understand our black-hearted master. The good that she said must not mean what you understand. You actually dare to negotiate with her. When we get out, things will not end well for you. Your brother will not be able to help you this time. You are walking to an early grave. After 2 hours, Feng Ming and the other 2 broke through one after another. Yun Chujio smiled and congratulated them. Feng Ming and the other 2 were also very excited. They didn't expect to break through in such a short time in the ancient mine trial. It was really exciting. 3 senior brothers, the happiness is coming soon. Mickey has a way to bring us out. Let's go. Let's go out and take revenge. Yun Chujio's eyes deepened. I won't let go of Su Yenranj wa Piao Yu Ding Lang, those scum. Feng Ming and the other 2 were overjoyed when they heard that. They immediately followed Yun Chujio and surrounded Little Black Rat, preparing to go out. Senior brothers, we can't tell the truth when we go out. This formation core is of great importance and must not be leaked. Moreover, once Mickey's identity is known, my little life will be in uproar, Yun Chujio said seriously. Junior sister Little Gio, we will say whatever you want us to say. Don't worry, we will keep our mouths shut about what happened here. Yes, junior sister Little Gio, we will not tell anyone. If you are worried, I will swear an inner demon oath. Gung Yi was straightforward and was about to start after he finished speaking. Yun Chujio quickly stopped him. Senior brother Gung Yi, there is no need for this. We are friends that have gone through life and death situations. Why would we need to resort to such extremes? As long as you don't tell anyone, it will be fine. Seeing this, Feng Ming and the other 2 were inexplicably touched. They all promised that they would never tell anyone. After Yun Chujio made up some excuses, the 3 of them unified their statements. Only then did they tell Little Black Rat that they could begin. Little Black Rat looked at the stone room reluctantly. Then he bit his front claw and cut it open. After dripping blood on the stone slab, he began to make seals with his front claw. A moment later, everyone felt a flash of white light and heard the sound of the wind. When Yun Chujio could open her eyes, she found that Feng Ming and the other two had already landed on the ground. And she, cough cough, was stuck on the barrier of the ancient mine. Damn it! What's going on? Yun Chujio tried hard to climb down from the barrier. Unfortunately, at this moment she was like a gecko that was firmly stuck on a wall. Chapter 603. Your style is quite unique, Mickey Mouse. What's going on? Master, it really has nothing to do with me this time. Look, those three are fine. Who knows why you're the only one stuck here? Besides, I've never heard of enchantments in my inheritance that can suck people, Little Black Rat said in confusion. Yun Chujio secretly wondered if it was because she had kidnapped the guardian beast of the ancient mine and Tian Dao was taking revenge on her? Humph. Since I dared to kidnap her, I'm not afraid of your revenge. She stretched her neck and started to howl. Help? Senior brothers, quickly help me down. Feng Ming and the other two were wondering where Yun Chujio had gone. When they heard the shout, they looked up and saw Yun Chujio lying on the barrier. The three of them were about to pull Yun Chujio down when they saw someone flying towards Yun Chujio. Black Thing, your style is quite unique. Di Baiming stood on the flying sword and said with a faint smile. Unique my ass. Damn gigolo. They had not seen each other for a long time. Not only did he pull her down, he even laughed at her. When she went down, she would teach him a good lesson. However, since she had a favor to ask, she naturally did not dare chastise him. She said pitifully, Prince Charming, hurry up and help me get down. I've missed you to death. The corner of Di Baiming's mouth curled up. I told you that she would be fine. As expected, the Black Thing always gives me a surprise. Di Baiming threw a palm at the barrier. The barrier trembled for a moment and Yun Chujio was immediately sent flying. She immediately cried out in panic and kept flailing her arms and legs. Just as she was about to land, her waist was held by someone. Di Baiming hugged Yun Chujio and sighed, Black Thing, don't you have a flying chopping board? Yun Chujio immediately wrapped her arms around Di Baiming's waist and said cheekily, it's forbidden to fly in the ancient mine. I forgot about the chopping board. Besides, I have a Prince Charming. Di Baiming felt very comfortable when he heard Yun Chujio's words. He curled the corner of his mouth and landed on the ground with his sword. And Feng, who was holding a mushroom in the corner, saw that Yun Chujio had actually got out safely. He could not help but feel a surge of respect for Di Baiming. It was he who understood the 9th Mississippi. The 9th Miss was a monster. She had actually got out from the ancient mine. How did she do it? Little 9th girl. This old man said that you are resourceful and will definitely be fine. It's great that all of you have returned safely. It had been more than a month since the ancient mine trial ended, and the main forces of the Linghua sect had already retreated. Elder Chu and a few elders had stayed behind. Now that they saw that Yun Chujio and the others had returned safely, they were naturally extremely happy. Elders, I've made all of you worry. Yun Chujio said apologetically. What are you talking about, little girl? We all know about the deeds done by the Heaven sect, Zhuo Piaoyu and Ding Lang. Don't worry, when we return to the sect, we will give you an explanation. Why exactly were all of you teleported out after all this time? I didn't take the poison at that time. I was faking my death. After senior brother Feng Ming and the others left, I activated the concealment talisman to escape. I didn't expect that little bitch Su Yenran to have a precious disc array. After I activated it, she discovered me. I was chased by them until I couldn't even speak. Later, senior brother Feng Ming saved me and we continued to escape. Later on, we fell into a deep pit. After that, when we woke up, we found that I was stuck to the barrier. Yun Chujio lied with a straight face. Chapter 604. Was there a way to get rid of the strange grass? Elder Chu frowned. What little Jiu said at the beginning was still valid, but why did it sound so strange at the end? Elder Chu asked Feng Ming and the other two. The three of them naturally repeated what Yun Chujio had said. Although Elder Chu was still skeptical, he did not inquire further. As long as one returned safely, it was already better than anything he hoped for. As for how all four made it out unscathed, there was no need to probe further. Since the four of them had returned safely, everyone set off to return to the Linghua sect. Although Di Biming had a lot of things to take care of recently, he had not seen Yun Chujio for such a long time. How could he bear to leave just like that? Thus he also rushed back to the Linghua sect. However, Yun Chujio and Di Biming rode on Di Biming's flying spirit tool alone. "Prince Charming, have you seen your master? What did he say?" At that moment, Yun Chujio was most concerned about the strange grass in her dantian. She did not dare to cultivate at all, afraid that the strange grass would continue to grow after she broke through again, endangering her life. Di Biming's expression froze. He said in a low voice, "I told Master about your situation. Master has never seen you in such a situation. In an ordinary person's dantian, even the slightest carelessness in cultivating would cause problems, let alone that grass growing in yours. My master said that it's best to know where this grass came from before we can deal with it in a precise manner. Prince Charming, I heard from my grandfather that when I was capturing Zhou, I once caught a seed with a black light. After capturing Zhou, that seed could no longer be found. Probably ran into my dantian at that time." Yun Chujio was a little disappointed. She had great hopes for Di Biming's master. After all, Di Biming's master was almost the strongest person in the Tianyuan continent. If even he could not do anything about it, then no one would be able to get rid of the strange grass in her dantian. Where did that seed come from? Did the Yun family have another similar seed? Di Biming asked anxiously. Yun Chujio shook her head. There's only one. Grandfather said that the thing that caught Zhou was prepared by my mother. He doesn't know where that seed came from either. Di Biming pondered for a moment. From the looks of it, we can only look into your adoptive mother first. After we return to Linghua City, we will go to see your grandfather and see if we can find some useful clues. Yun Chujio lowered her head and answered in a muffled voice. Di Biming raised his eyebrows and the corners of his mouth curled up. Black thing, what I told you just now was the bad news. There is also a piece of good news. Do you want to hear it? Yun Chujio was stunned. There is still good news. Of course I want to hear it. Tell me quickly. Although my master has no way to get rid of the strange grass in your dantian for the time being, after listening to me describe the process of your illness, he said that the reason why your vitality was rapidly losing was probably that the strange grass needed a lot of nutrients to level up. Therefore, the next time you feel that the strange grass in your dantian is about to level up after your breakthrough, you should immediately consume a large number of pills and high-level herbs. That should help for the time being. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and nodded. What Di Biming said seemed to make sense. The premise was that she had to suppress the strange grass first. Otherwise, it might absorb all her energy and cause trouble for her again. The only thing that could suppress the strange grass was the Great Void Mirror. She had to think of a way to get the fragment from the Heaven's Gate sect. With the Great Void Mirror, it would help her suppress the strange grass. Yes, that was what she would do. Chapter 605. A pretty boy. Yun Chujio told Di Biming about her idea. Di Biming felt that it was feasible, so he said, How do you plan to get the fragment of the Great Void Mirror from Heaven's Gate sect? Do you need my help? No need. No need. That little bitch Su Yenran caused me to suffer such a huge loss. I will naturally make that old bastard Du Gai pay the little price. On one hand, Yun Chujio did have a way to force the Heaven's Gate sect to hand over the fragment of the Great Void Mirror. On the other hand, she was worried that Di Biming would be punished by the heavens if he really killed the people of the Tianmen sect. Oh right, I showed the medicinal pill that you refined with golden patterns to my master. He said that it was a heaven-grade medicinal pill and very few alchemists could refine it. He told you not to be discovered by others to avoid attracting trouble. Di Biming thought for a moment and added, I used that medicinal pill to save Elder Shao and the others in the fire cave previously. However, I said that it was given to me by you. If I had known earlier, I would have let them swallow it with their eyes closed. Yun Chujio patted her thigh and said. The corner of Di Biming's eyes twitched. It doesn't matter. As long as you don't let slip that it was you who refined it, it's fine. If there's any trouble, I will bear the consequences. Yun Chujio swooned. The gigolo was becoming better and better at sweet-talking. She really wanted to ravage him. What was wrong with him? Prince Charming, your birthday is in less than half a month. What birthday present do you want? Yun Chujio asked playfully. Anything is fine. Di Biming did not celebrate his birthday every year. At most he would just eat a bowl of longevity noodles. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. Prince Charming, how about this? When your birthday comes, I'll wash myself until I smell nice and fragrant. Then I'll tie a bow on myself and give myself to you as a gift. How about that? Beiming immediately imagined a sexy scene. His ears turned red and he scolded angrily, "Nonsense. The more you say, the more ridiculous it gets. It's getting late. You should go and rest. I'll control the flying spirit tool." Yun Chujio pursed her lips. The pretty boy's skin was too thin. If they were to get married in the future, he would not let her use leathers and whips when they had their fun right. Sigh, she could not enjoy such a handsome man now. She did not know when her small body would develop into an enchanting beauty. She really couldn't wait. Beiming's flying spirit tool had 2 rooms. One was for controlling the flying spirit tool and the other was for resting. When Yun Chujio saw Beiming go to the other room, she thought for a moment and took out the bathtub. It was inconvenient to take a bath in the ancient mine these days. She was so dirty from the ordeal that it was a good time to take a hot bath. Yun Chujio took off her clothes in no time and entered the bathtub naked. She took a comfortable breath. It's so comfortable. When I hugged the gigolo's waist today, I felt that the gigolo's figure had improved. She secretly ravished Beiming in his head. As the day had been tiring, she sat in the bathtub and fell asleep. Beiming could still hear Yun Chujio humming and muttering at first, but after hearing that there was no movement, he thought that Yun Chujio had already fallen asleep. He walked into the room to see if Yun Chujio was sleeping well. However, the moment he entered the room, he saw Yun Chujio lying on the side of the bathtub, motionless. Beiming thought that Yun Chujio had fallen ill again. He was so scared that he cried out, "Black thing, what's wrong with you?" Beiming rushed to the side of the bathtub and carried Yun Chujio out. Yun Chujio was sleeping soundly. In her dream, she was teasing the gigolo. She opened her eyes and looked at Beiming in a daze. She smiled evilly and said, "Gigolo, come give me something spicy." Chapter 606. Struggling with a nosebleed the entire night. Black thing. Are you crazy? Wake up. Beiming heard Yun Chujio's nonsense and became even more worried. He shook Yun Chujio's shoulder. Yun Chujio rubbed her eyes and looked at Beiming. She looked down at herself and pinched her arm. She screamed, "Pretty boy. You pervert. Get out." Beiming was stunned. "Black thing, are you okay? Are you not sick?" Yun Chujio picked up the clothes on the ground and covered her chest. Her face was red as she scolded, "You are the one who is sick. I fell asleep. You pervert. Get out." Beiming's face suddenly turned red as he stammered, I thought you were sick. I'll go now." Beiming was in a panic and tripped on the way out. After he got up, he staggered and rushed out with both hands and feet. Yun Chujio heard a bang coming from outside the door. It turned out that Beiming fell again in a panic. Yun Chujio's face was red. Although this guy kept saying that he wanted to do whatever he wanted, he was actually a perverted coward. Thinking of the scene just now, she wanted to find a hole to hide in. She randomly put on her clothes. Only then did she realize that she was wearing dirty clothes. She could only wash her clothes again before changing into clean clothes. When she lay on the bed, her little heart was still beating violently. The redness on her face did not fade for a long time. In the other room, Beiming was in an even worse state. When he fell, his nose coincidentally bumped into the ground. Instantly, blood flowed out like a fountain. After much difficulty, he managed to stop the nosebleed. He heard the sound of Yun Chujio taking a bath again in the room. He replayed the scene in his head over and over, causing the nosebleed to get worse. The normally undaunted Beiming had been struggling with a nosebleed the entire night. The next morning, Beiming felt a little uncomfortable. He did not go into the room to have breakfast with Yun Chujio. He really could not think of what he would say if he met her. Just as Beiming was in a dilemma, the door was pushed open. Yun Chujio ran out as if nothing had happened. "Prince Charming, I'm hungry. Hurry up and eat." Beiming saw that Yun Chujio was her usual self and felt more at ease. He stammered and explained, "Little Gio, yesterday I thought that something happened to you, it's not a big deal. Don't take it to heart. Anyway, you'll be mine sooner or later, so just watch. If you feel uncomfortable, then take off your clothes and let me look at you." Yun Chujio said with a lecherous look. The discomfort in Beiming's stomach was instantly extinguished. He said with a sullen face, "You're talking nonsense again. Why did you fall asleep in the shower yesterday? Aren't you afraid of catching a cold?" Prince Charming, didn't you know that I was chased to death by the 10 one-horned demon lizards in the ancient mine? I was so exhausted that when I relaxed I suddenly fell asleep. Yun Chujio said with a bitter face. Well, now that you have my master's idea, you can continue to cultivate. Don't be lazy. You won't be so lucky every time. If it weren't for Little Black Rat, you would probably be doomed again. Yun Chujio nodded obediently. Prince Charming, don't worry. I will definitely cultivate well. I will strangle that little bitch Su Yenran to death with my own hands. Di Biming nodded in gratification. Right now the black thing's spiritual power was too low. It was impossible to enter the Tianyuan continent. Only when she cultivated diligently and reached the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual emperor realm could she enter the Tianyuan continent. Chapter 607. I have no objections this time. Yun Chujio kept her word. After eating breakfast, she obediently meditated and cultivated. Di Biming was very satisfied. He thought to himself, finally, Black Thing is sensible. 2 days later, the 2 flying spirit tools arrived at the Linghua sect at the same time. Yun Chujio was surprised to find that Feng was actually chatting and laughing with Feng Ming and the other 2. They were very intimate, so she asked Feng what was going on. It turned out that Di Biming was in a hurry to spend time with Yun Chujio, so he hurriedly brought Yun Chujio onto the flying spirit tool and flew away. The miserable Feng could only follow Elder Chu and the others onto the flying spirit tool of the Linghua sect. Feng and the other 2 were bored, so they brought Feng along and ran away as fast as they could. Feng had seen Di Biming play landlord many times, but he had never played solitaire himself. He became addicted to it, so he naturally became familiar with Feng Ming and the other 2. The first thing everyone did when they arrived at the Linghua sect was to see Master Xianyuan. After receiving the news, Master Xianyuan had already gathered the 5 peak masters and the elders to wait for everyone. After seeing Master Xianyuan, Yun Chujio told them everything. Then she asked, Master Xianyuan, not only did Zhuo Piaoyu, Ding Lang and the others threaten their fellow disciples at a critical moment, they also deliberately poisoned me. Fortunately, I was quick-witted and found some clues. I've been keeping this highly toxic food. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she took out the toxic food that Zhuo Piaoyu had given her from her storage ring. Elder Qi took it and sniffed it. Immediately his expression changed. There was a poison flame pill in this. The poison flame pill is very toxic. If little Jiu had eaten a bit of it back then, she would have died on the spot. These poison flame pills must have been refined by that evil disciple of Ding Lang. What a beast. Peak Master Yuan sat at the side with a livid expression. He had originally thought that Zhuo Piaoyu had only betrayed her fellow disciples at a critical moment. He had never thought that she would have such vicious intentions. This was truly an unforgivable crime. Peak Master Yuan, Elder Qi, Zhuo Piaoyu and Ding Lang have committed a grave mistake. What plans do you have? Master Xin Yuan asked in a deep voice. Elder Qi said angrily, that beast Ding Lang, since he has such vicious thoughts and wants to poison little Jiu, we naturally can't let him live. Kill him. However, Peak Master Yuan sighed and said, Sect leader, you also know Zhuo Piaoyu's identity. If we kill her, I'm afraid that the Zhuo family won't let it go. Why don't we cripple her cultivation and expel her from the Linghua sect? Little Jiu, although it's not very fair to deal with her like this, I watched her grow up with my own eyes. I really can't bear to kill her like this. Moreover, she still has the Zhuo family behind her. If we really kill her, I'm afraid that it will make things worse. Yun Chujio was a little displeased. What do you mean you can't bear to do this? Could it be that you can bear to let her kill me? But there really is a difference in the way you treat people. However, Yun Chujio thought about it. To a fake white lotus like Zhuo Piaoyu, crippling her cultivation and being chased out of the Linghua sect would probably make her wish she was dead. That outcome was not so bad either. Thus, Yun Chujio said with a smile, I have no objections. You guys can decide. Seeing how sensible Yun Chujio was, Peak Master Yuan felt even more guilty. Little Jiu, I've let you down in this matter. You can keep these defensive spirit tools. Yun Chujio pretended to shirk for a moment, but she had already begun put the items into her storage ring. She felt a little more at ease. After everyone's discussion was settled, Master Xianyuan ordered someone to bring Zhuo Piaoyu and the others up. Chapter 608. I'll show you why Elder Qi values me. After Zhuo Piaoyu and Ding Lang were brought up and they saw Yun Chuzhou and the other three safe and sound, their expressions instantly changed. Elder Shao glanced at them and coldly said, Ding Lang, as a true disciple, he intends to poison his fellow disciples and betray them at the critical moment. His heart can be killed without mercy. Zhuo Piaoyu, as a core disciple, intended to poison and kill her fellow disciples. Furthermore, she betrayed her fellow disciples at a critical moment. Therefore she should be executed. Considering that she wasn't the main culprit, her cultivation will be crippled and she will be expelled from the Linghua sect. Lu Shi, Sun Quan, and Huang Bao were the three who aided the ringleader. They were cowardly and afraid of death. They betrayed their fellow disciples, so their cultivation will be crippled, and they will be expelled from the Linghua sect. Wu Yinyu was jealous of those who were capable and gossiped. Since she didn't commit any major mistakes, she was demoted from core disciple to inner disciple. If she commits any more crimes, she will be severely punished. Zhuo Piaoyu, Lu Shi, and the others fainted after hearing Elder Shao's words. Ding Lang was scared out of his wits at first, then he roared crazily, I refuse to accept it. I refuse to accept this judgment. We are both successor disciples, why can't I get the attention of the sect? Elder Qi, as my master, why are you treating this bitch Yun Chuzhou better than me? You've never been willing to teach me how to refine a level 5 medicinal pill, but you've been teaching this bitch Yun Chuzhou with all your heart. On what basis is there for such treatment? Elder Qi was so angry that he was trembling. You bastard. You're impetuous and your aptitude is limited. The reason why I didn't teach you how to refine a level 5 medicinal pill was because I was afraid that your foundation would be unstable and you would go mad. Once your Dao heart is destroyed, you'll never be able to refine pills again. Ding Lang was stunned, then he sneered and said, This is just an excuse for you to brush me off. Alright, even so, why do you value that bitch Yun Chuzhou so much? What's so important about her that makes her deserve this special treatment? Without waiting for Elder Qi to speak, Yun Chuzhou said with a smile, Ding Lang, do you think that my alchemy skills are inferior to yours? Are you very powerful? Ding Lang sneered again and again. I won second place in the Wuwei Tower's alchemy competition. What qualifications do you have to compete with me? Yun Chuzhou smiled faintly. I remember that when you competed in alchemy, the competition was to refine 4th grade exploding spirit pills, right? Your result at that time was 80% success rate, 3 upper grade pills and 5 middle grade pills, right? Chapter 609. Crushing strength. The other people in the meeting hall did not think highly of Yun Chuzhou. Although Elder Qi had previously said that Yun Chuzhou had the talent to refine pills, she had only learned how to refine pills for a year. No matter how good her talent was, it was impossible for her to refine a level 4 spirit explosion pill. Moreover, she had surpassed Ding Lang's results. It was simply impossible. Little Jiu would probably be embarrassed this time. This child was too impulsive. Suddenly, everyone smelled wisps of medicinal fragrance coming from Yun Chuzhou's pill refining furnace. Everyone's expression was shocked. It seemed like it was working. Perhaps little Jiu could really successfully refine it. Even if she couldn't reach Ding Lang's result, it was still very impressive. Ding Lang's eyes were fixed on Yun Chuzhou's movements. Although he smelled the medicinal fragrance, he thought that this stinky girl might have gotten lucky and happened to refine it. He didn't believe that her pill success rate and the quality of the pills could surpass his. If she was really that powerful, why didn't the old man send her to participate in the competition? A moment later, Yun Chuzhou extinguished the fire refining stone and said to Ding Lang with a cold smile, To prevent you from saying that I cheated, you can personally open the lid of this alchemy furnace. Although Ding Lang's spiritual power was restrained, his hands and feet were not tied. He walked to the front of the alchemy furnace and looked at Yun Chuzhou with contempt before opening the lid of the alchemy furnace. No. This is impossible. This must be blind luck. It must be a coincidence. You got lucky. I'm not convinced. Ding Lang shouted crazily. Everyone was a little curious, so they went forward to take a look. They saw that there were 10 exploding spirit pills at the bottom of the alchemy furnace, and all 10 of them were high grade. Before everyone could express their shock, they heard Yun Chuzhou say, What you said makes sense. It might be a coincidence that this happened once. I'll refine another batch for you. Open your eyes and watch carefully. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she put away the pills in the pill refining furnace and lit the firestone again. She started refining again according to the steps just now. Ding Lang's face was pale. As the medicinal fragrance from Yun Chujio's pill refining furnace spread out, beads of sweat started to appear on his head. Compared to killing him, Yun Chujio's actions were undoubtedly destroying the talent that he had always been proud of. After a quarter of an hour, Yun Chujio extinguished the fire refining stone once again and said to Ding Lang, "Open it yourself and see." Ding Lang's hands trembled. After opening the lid of the alchemy furnace, he saw that there were still 10 high-grade explosive spirit pills inside. Ding Lang slumped to the ground dejectedly. Impossible. Impossible. You've only learned alchemy for a year. Why are you stronger than me? This is impossible. Yun Chujio laughed coldly. Impossible? Just because you can't do it doesn't mean that others can't either? You're always presumptuously guessing other people's thoughts. How ridiculous. Since you're so good at alchemy, why didn't you take part in the Wuei Tower's alchemy competition? Ding Lang seemed to have grasped the last straw as he roared and asked. It's very simple. As you can see, I'm not on the same level as you guys. In my opinion, your alchemy skills are like children playing house. Have you ever seen an adult playing with a child in the mud? It's not that I don't dare, it's that I don't want to. It's disdain. Ding Lang, I've already let you off once. Do you think that I don't know what you did to Senior Feng Ming in the Eupatorium Valley last time? I only did it for Elder Chi's sake and didn't expose you. I didn't expect that not only did you not stop but you went even further. Do you think you deserve to die? Chapter 610. Di Baiming's birthday. Ding Lang stared at Yun Chujio in disbelief. The confidence that he had always been proud of had completely collapsed. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Why would you be so kind as to let me go? You must be spouting nonsense. Spouting nonsense? Why would those Eupatorium egg-protecting bees attack Senior Brother Feng Ming for no reason? Didn't you sprinkle Ant Queen Bee powder on Senior Brother Feng Ming's clothes? The ant bee is the archenemy of the Eupatorium bee. Those egg-protecting bees only attacked Senior Brother Feng Ming so rapidly because they smelled the scent of the ant bees. Am I right? Yun Chujio said with a cold smile. Ding Lang sat on the ground dejectedly. At this moment he understood that he had lost. He had completely lost. His contempt, ridicule and resentment towards Yun Chujio were all like a joke. The things that he valued in the eyes of others was just a parlor trick that didn't appeal to others. Master Xianyuan and the others were all looking at Yun Chujio, who was speaking with confidence. Her heavenly spirit root was indeed not human. Not only did she successfully brew the exploding spirit pill, but her success rate was also 100%. The most unbelievable thing was that it produced high-grade pills. It was simply too out of this world. Elder Chi recalled the few times he had taught Yun Chujio how to concoct pills. Each time her results were just a little worse than his. Could this little girl have done it on purpose? Could it be that she was afraid that this old man would lose face, so she deliberately held back? At this moment, Elder Chi's feelings were very complicated. There was disappointment and heartache towards Ding Lang, admiration towards Yun Chujio's abnormal talent, and also the gratitude that the little girl had brought. Master Xianyuan saw Ding Lang sitting there in a daze and waved his hand at the law enforcement disciples, indicating that they should wait for Ding Lang and the others to be punished. At this moment Zhuo Piaoyu woke up. She knelt in front of Peak Master Yuan and cried bitterly, "Master, I was wrong. Please help me plead with the sect master. I will definitely change my ways. If I lose my spiritual power, my life will be ruined." Peak Master Yuan was in pain and angry. He sighed and said, "Piaoyu, you don't have to say any more. It is already the sect master's mercy that you are able to keep your life. Hurry up and leave. Our master-disciple relationship will be severed." Zhuo Piaoyu begged bitterly for a long time, but Feng Master Yuan never relented. Master Xianyuan motioned for the law enforcement disciples to drag Zhuo Piaoyu away. Before Zhuo Piaoyu was dragged away, she glared fiercely at Yun Chujio. "Slut, I won't forgive you. If it wasn't for you, I would still be the proud disciple of heaven of the Linghua sect. If it wasn't for you, Senior Brother Feng Ming would have liked me. Yun Chujio, I will repay you with double the punishment in the future." Everyone chatted for a while more before they left. The next day, Di Baiming proposed to return to the Tianyuan continent to deal with some matters. Yun Chujio waved her little handkerchief and reluctantly sent Di Biming off. She specifically told Di Biming to come back on his birthday. Otherwise she would not let him off. Di Biming nodded and agreed, only then did she leave. Time flew by. It was the 10th day of the 10th month, which was also Di Biming's birthday. Yun Chujio dressed herself up beautifully early in the morning and specially went to the Zhongfeng kitchen to bake a big cake. Although there was no cream, Yun Chujio used a kind of spirit fruit to mash it and put it on top. It looked similar to a cream cake. After Yun Chujio made all the preparations, she looked forward to Di Biming's arrival. However, Di Biming did not appear until sunset. Yun Chujio thought that perhaps the gigolo had something to do and could only come at night. After all, looking at beauty under the moon produced a different kind of mood. Chapter 6:11. Was stood Upus, the sky turned darker and darker. Yun Chujio's heart started to become more and more agitated. You gigolo, you actually stood me up. I'm not done with you. The voice transmission talisman inside her storage ring started to vibrate. After Yun Chujio sent her divine sense in, she heard Di Biming's slightly helpless voice. Little Jio, my mother is sick. I'll visit you another day. Yun Chujio was stunned and asked anxiously, Prince Charming, is your mother all right? She is fine. She has been sick for a long time. Yun Chujio put away the voice transmission talisman gloomily. She was so depressed that she had nowhere to vent it. Should I blame the gigolo? His mother is sick. I can't just make him come over, right? Who can you blame? Damn it, you can only blame yourself for being too attentive. And Feng, your master won't be coming today. Sit down and let's eat the cake together. Yun Chujio said sullenly. The little black bird's eyes shone. Damn, it's great that gigolo isn't coming. I can eat more of this big cake. Doesn't it just smell good? And Feng walked out from the corner and asked in surprise, Miss Jio, why is our lord not coming? He said that his mother's illness is acting up. Forget it. If he can't come, then so be it. Let's eat this cake so that it doesn't go to waste. Yun Chujio forced a smile and said. And Feng nodded and said, the wife of the palace master does have a hidden illness that can flare up from time to time. Miss Ju, please don't blame our lord. Yun Chujio squeezed out a smile and said, am I such an unreasonable person? I was just a little disappointed after being busy for so long. How about trying my cake? And Feng took a bite of the cake. It was soft and smooth, and it was a taste that he had never tasted before. And Feng coughed dryly when he saw Yun Chujio clumsily wolfing down the mountain of food. Miss Jo, aren't you going to leave a piece for our lord? Yun Chujio said gloomily, just wait for him to come back and I can bake another for him. You guys can have this. I'm annoyed just looking at it, so it's better not to see it. The little black bird secretly glared at Feng. You black-hearted man. It's enough for you to eat it yourself, but you even want to leave some for the gigolo. In your dreams. This is all mine. And Feng was almost choked by the little black bird's glare. He did not dare to say anything more. After finishing the piece of cake in his hand, he obediently returned to his original spot to load the mushrooms. Yun Chujio looked at Little Black and the others snatching the cake with a depressed expression. Her sixth sense had always been very sharp. She always felt that Di Biming did not come because of some old problem of his mother's. Perhaps it was just her imagination. She hoped that it was so. The next day, Di Biming still did not visit. That night, Shui Wuji came in high spirits. Little sister Jiu. Long time no see. Did you miss me? Yun Chujio smiled. Brother Wuji, you didn't send me spirit stones again, did you? Little sister Jiu, didn't I tell you long ago? What's mine is yours. How many spirit stones do you want? I'll give it to you right away. Shui Wuji said heroically as he patted his chest. Normally, Yun Chujio would take the opportunity to extort Shui Wuji, but she was not in the mood. She smiled and said, then thank you, Brother Wuji. Sit down and have some tea. A faint light flashed in Shui Wuji's eyes. After he sat down, he looked like he wanted to say something but stopped. He kept peering at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio smiled. Brother Wuji, if you have something to say, just say it. Don't try to hide it. Shui Wuji sighed. Little sister Jiu, it's not that I'm trying to hide it. If I tell you about this, I'm afraid you'll be sad. Chapter 6:12. Peeping was not a good habit. Yun Chujio glanced at Shui Wuji and said faintly, Brother Wuji, you're right. Since I will be sad when I hear it, then you should stop talking. Xue Wuji was brewing his emotions and was about to speak when he choked after being rebutted by Yun Chujio. He did not want to talk about this uncomfortable feeling. Little sister Jiu is as humorous as always. Look, I won't keep you in suspense. Xue Wuji took out a stone from his storage ring and handed it to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio was stunned. Brother Wuji, why are you giving me a stone? This is a shadow stone. If you insert your spiritual power into it, it will show the recording. However, little sister Jiu, you must be mentally prepared, Xue Wuji said worriedly. Yun Chujio smiled and inserted her spiritual power into the shadow stone. The image gradually appeared. At first, it seemed to be a garden filled with strange flowers and plants. After a while, the image showed the figures of several women. However, the person holding the shadow stone seemed to be afraid of being discovered. Therefore, the images were mostly of half their bodies and the faces of these women could not be seen. After a while, the scene changed. It was as if they had arrived at a banquet. Perhaps there was something shielding them, but the actions of the person recording improved and the scene became clear. There were several beautiful women at the banquet. They were charming, cold, dignified, and charming. They were beautiful women of all types. However, when the shadow stone swept past the main table, it was empty. It seemed that the master had not arrived yet. After a while, when it swept past the main table again, it was already occupied. The first person to enter the shadow stone was a beautiful middle-aged woman. Yun Chujio's heart sank. This woman's appearance was very familiar. She looked very similar to a gigolo. Could she be the gigolo's mother? Did the gigolo not say that his mother was sick? Perhaps this was recorded in the past? Yun Chujio was stunned when she saw the person who appeared next. The young man who was sitting next to the middle-aged woman had handsome facial features and sharp edges. The corners of his mouth were slightly curled up. Who else could it be but Di Baiming? Yun Chujio felt a dull pain in her heart, but her face remained calm as she continued to look down. What was recorded on the shadow stone next was nothing more than these women attending the banquet performing their talents. Perhaps because they were afraid of being discovered, but the shadow stone did not sweep past the main seat again. Yun Chujio returned the shadow stone to Xue Wuji and said calmly, Brother Wuji, peeping is not a good habit. Xue Wuji had imagined many reactions of Yun Chujio after seeing the shadow stone. Chapter 6:13. Di Baiming, you bastard. Yun Chujio heard it all. She curled her lips slightly and said, Brother Wuji, the technique the person used to record really isn't great. I didn't even see what those coquettish bitches looked like. Brother Wuji, tell them that the next time they record they must record it clearly. Xue Wuji was speechless. Xue Wuji coughed dryly twice. Little sister Jiu, are you really not angry at all? Di Baiming might say that he was treating you well, but in reality he was attending some consort selection banquet behind your back. He's saying one thing and doing another. He's extremely shameless. I heard that the people who went were all the daughter-in-law candidates that Di Baiming's mother had found. I heard that the specific candidates will be decided after this. Why would I be angry? If he likes me, then we can be together. If he doesn't, then let's separate. I believe that he will give me an explanation. Being angry here won't solve anything. Yun Chujio sipped her tea and said calmly. Xue Wuji was very disappointed. He thought that he would definitely be able to bring Di Baiming down this time. Who would have thought that little sister Ju did not care at all? He was really depressed. Xue Wuji did not achieve his goal. After drinking a few cups of tea, he left disappointedly. And Feng, who was in the corner, hated Xue Wuji to death. However, he was even more dissatisfied with his own honored master. Honored master, you're not doing this properly. The ninth miss had prepared a big cake for you yesterday and you promised to be there. In the end, not only did you not come, you even lied to her and said that the old madam was sick. What are you doing? And Feng hid in a corner and quickly reported the news of Xue Wuji's visit to Di Baiming. He silently thought to himself, your esteemed self, seek your own fortune. I've heard that the calmer a woman is, the more vicious she will be. You must go through this difficult time. And Feng was lost in his thoughts when he heard a loud crash. He saw Yun Chujio throw the teapot and teacup on the stone table onto the ground. After she threw the teacup, Yun Chujio rushed into the house angrily. After a while, the sound of something being hammered could be heard from inside the house. And Feng shrunk his neck. It was so scary. Miss Jiu had lost her temper. Inside the house, Yun Chujio was holding a rolling pin and hammering the heart-shaped haze stone that she wanted to give to Di Biming. While hammering she cursed, "Gigolo. You heartless man. I'll beat you to death. How dare you lie to me? You even said that your mother is sick. I think you're the one who's sick. I even prepared a birthday present for you. Bah. Don't even think about it in the future." The more Yun Chujio thought about it, the angrier she got. She took out the voice transmission talisman and shouted angrily, "Di Biming. You lying bastard. I hate you so much." A moment later, the voice transmission talisman started to vibrate. Di Biming's deep voice came out from it. "Little Jew, it's not what you think. I'll explain it to you in person after I'm done." Yun Chujio kept the voice transmission talisman angrily and did not reply to Di Biming. She continued to hit the haze stone on the ground with the rolling pin. "Bastard who doesn't keep his word. Explain your head. You're laughing like a pervert. Shameless. With a bunch of little fairies accompanying you, no wonder you stood me up. You bastard. I'll beat you to death." Yun Chujio's heart was burning with anger. If Di Biming was right in front of her, she believed that she would definitely bite and kick him without mercy. Thinking about how she was so eager to prepare a gift and bake a cake only for Di Biming to stand her up. To think that he was still with a group of flirtatious bitches was intolerable. Chapter 6:14. Had all been killed. Yun Chujio did not sleep well the whole night. Early the next morning, someone shouted outside the courtyard, "Junior sister little Gio. Junior sister little Gio. Someone is looking for you outside the mountain gate. They said it's very important." Yun Chujio was stunned. She ran outside the courtyard and saw a male disciple standing outside. She asked curiously, "Who is looking for me?" "I don't know him. He had a mask on and his body was covered in blood." Before the male disciple could finish his words, Yun Chujio was already flying towards Spirit Radiant Sect's mountain gate on the chopping board. Originally, Di Biming's secret guards were in charge of protecting the Yun family. After the League of Assassins was taken over by Sect Master Zhen, they no longer took on assassination missions and instead took on some guard missions. Therefore, Yun Chujio hired people from the League of Assassins to protect the Yun family. Elder Qi had yet to develop the antidote for Goldface and the others, but he had developed something for them to take once a month. Therefore, Goldface often traveled between the League of Assassins and Spirit Radiant City and occasionally stayed with the Yun family. Looking at the days, Goldface should have been at the Yun family. Why would he come looking for her with blood all over his body? Yun Chujio's heart sank and her palms kept breaking out in cold sweat. Nothing would happen to the Yun family. Nothing would happen to them. After Yun Chujio exited the mountain gate, she saw Goldface leaning against a rock, his body covered in blood. "Goldface, what happened to you? What happened?" Yun Chujio took out a heaven-grade blood coagulation pill and fed it to Goldface. Goldface saw Yun Chujio and anxiously said, "Miss Jo, something happened to the Yun family. Last night a group of masked men came. They had high spiritual power and they killed everyone they saw. In the entire Yun mansion except for me and Old Master Yun, all of them were killed. Originally I wanted to protect Old Master Yun and find you, but I didn't expect to be kidnapped halfway. They asked me to deliver a letter to you. Otherwise I definitely wouldn't have survived." Yun Chujio's head buzzed. She could not believe what she had heard. With a trembling voice she asked, "You said that the rest of the people are dead? Chunyu is dead? Housekeeper Ji is also dead? Those guards who followed you are also dead?" Goldface's eyes were red. "Yes, Miss Jo. Those people don't care about the truth or innocence. They killed everyone they saw. Even the maids and servants weren't spared. It seems that they wanted to take Old Master Yun as a hostage. That's why Old Master Yun's life was spared. Otherwise, I'm afraid, give me the letter." Yun Chujio took the letter from Goldface. There were a few lines of words written on it. "Yun Chujio, if you want to save Yun Shaon, you have to go to Eagle Slope alone by midnight tonight. If I find out that you brought someone else, I will kill Yun Shaotian." Yun Chujio's face paled. After a moment she said in a low voice, "Goldface, wait for me at the fork in the road ahead. I will go back and get some things. Then I will meet up with you." Goldface nodded. He thought that Yun Chujio was asking Master Xinyuan for help, so he was a little uncertain. The Spirit Radiance sect had never interfered with worldly affairs. If something happened to Yun Chujio, they would definitely help her, but he was afraid that they might not be able to interfere with the Yun family's affairs. Yun Chujio's heart was in shambles along the way. The only thing she was glad about was that her uncle's family had gone to visit her aunt's family a few days ago. Otherwise, Yun Chujio did not dare to even think about it. Chun Yu, the silly and cute little servant girl, and housekeeper Ji. Every time they would bring the servants to help me fix the door with a horrified expression. How could they die just like that? There were also the guards who had followed Goldface. They once played cards with me on a flying spirit tool. They also helped me at the crucial moment during the League of Assassins face-off. They all died. There was also grandfather who had fallen into the hands of those evil people. He would definitely be subjected to all kinds of torture. No matter who the person behind the scenes is, even if I, Yun Chujio, was at the ends of the earth, I will kill you to avenge those who had died. Chapter 6:15. Get Revenge with Yun Chujio did not return to her dormitory. Instead, she activated the concealment talisman and headed straight for the Spirit Beast Garden at Middle Peak. Early in the morning, the Spirit Beast Garden was very quiet. There was not a single disciple present. Yun Chujio went to the area where the mighty elephant was located and opened a small gap in the array formation before jumping down. Yun Chujio usually goes to the Spirit Beast Garden to wander around. When the disciples of the Spirit Beast Garden opened the gap in the array formation to feed them, Yun Chujio secretly wrote down the method. She did not expect it to be used that day. And Feng followed behind her with a confused look on his face. What is Miss Ju doing? Why didn't she ask Master Xianyuan for help? Why did she jump into the nest of the mighty elephants? Has she lost her mind? After Yun Chujio entered the nest of the mighty elephants, she removed the concealment talisman and revealed herself. She whispered to the few mighty elephants, "My dears, I'm in big trouble. I need your help. Don't worry. As long as you help me, I will send you to the demonic beast forest and return your freedom. If you agree, then nod. If not, I will leave immediately." The few mighty elephants saw Yun Chujio and were about to greet her excitedly. When they heard Yun Chujio's words, they were stunned. Although they did not know how to speak, they could understand. The two ninth-grade mighty elephants discussed for a while and then nodded in agreement. This kind of opportunity might only happen once in their lives. Last time, the little girl had enlightened them, and their spiritual power had improved by leaps and bounds. This time they would listen to her again. If they succeeded, then they would not have to be trapped in this small spirit beast garden anymore. Good. Thank you very much. I'll put you into my spirit beast pouch. Do not resist and don't worry. My spirit beast pouch is a bit special. You can enter it without acknowledging me as your master. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she put the 5 mighty elephants and the baby elephants into the beast pouch, and then flew up through the gap. And Feng, come with me, but don't show yourself. Yun Chujio knew and Feng must be at her side. Yes, Miss Jiu. And Feng answered and followed Yun Chujio to the mountain gate of the Spirit Radiance sect. After Yun Chujio left the mountain gate and removed the concealment talisman, she found Goldface. Goldface's injuries had healed a lot after taking the pill, and he could not help but click his tongue in wonder. The pill that Miss Jiu gave him was too heaven-defying. It actually had an immediate effect. It was truly miraculous. Seeing that Yun Chujio was alone, Goldface said worriedly, "Miss Jiu, is the Spirit Radiance sect not willing to help? Why don't you follow me back to the League to gather manpower first and then look for the murderer?" Yun Chujio shook her head. "We don't have enough time to go back to call for reinforcements. We'll head to the Yun residence first to take a look and then make our plans." When Yun Chujio and Goldface arrived outside the Yun residence, they could smell the stench of blood wafting from inside. Yun Chujio took a deep breath and pushed open the main door of the Yun residence. There were several corpses lying on the ground, and the stone slabs on the ground were stained red with blood. Yun Chujio found the bodies of the servant girl, Chun Yu, and housekeeper Ji at the door of Yun Xiaoshan's study. Yun Chujio squatted down, her tears falling like rain. In her previous life, she had no other relationship other than a good friend called Yun Chi, so she had never experienced the feeling of losing someone close to her. At that moment, her heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. Yun Chujio sobbed and said, "Chun Yu, housekeeper Ji, I'll put you in my storage ring first. After I help you get revenge, I'll find a place with beautiful scenery and bury you." After saying that, Yun Chujio planned to put the two of them into her storage ring, but she did not manage to do so. Yun Chujio was stunned at first, then she was ecstatic. Living things could not be put into storage rings. Could it be that the two of them were still alive? Also, Big Brother Goldface, put away the bodies of these guards first. When the matter is over, I'll find a place with good feng shui and bury them. Miss Jo, you won't really go alone, right? This is too dangerous. Goldface advised. Yun Chujio said lightly, you guys are the League of Assassins and yet I dared to barge in alone. Moreover, they said that I can't bring anyone with me. If I do, I'm afraid they will really kill my grandfather. I have to go alone. Don't worry, I have a countermeasure. Seeing that Yun Chujio was so insistent, Goldface could not persuade her anymore. He told Yun Chujio to be careful. After Yun Chujio agreed, she went straight to Eagle Slope. Yun Chujio had never been to Eagle Slope before. However, Feng Ming had given her a jade slip with a map of the Qingxian continent a few days ago. Yun Chujio followed the map and rode on the chopping board toward the slope. The Eagle Slope was about 6 hours away from Spirit Radiant City. After 6 hours, Yun Chujio arrived at the slope. From afar she could see Yun Xiaotian hanging from a tree. His body was covered in blood and a woman was whipping him non-stop. Yun Chujio recognized the woman from behind. It was Shuo Piaoyu, who had been stripped of her cultivation and expelled from the Spirit Radiant sect. Yun Chujio's eyes were red as she shouted, Shuo Piaoyu, stop. I don't believe that the Spirit Radiant sect will really destroy our Zhuo family for a little disciple like you. Not to mention your so-called Yun family. If it weren't for the long journey, we would have killed all those Yun family members in Yi City. This is what you get for offending our Zhuo family. You can only blame yourself for being blind and offending someone you shouldn't have. Yun Chujio clenched her fists tightly in her sleeves. Zhuo family, since you are so ruthless, then don't blame me for killing you all. We can't leave a single member of the Zhuo family alive. Right at that moment, Yun Xiaotian, who was originally hanging on the tree, suddenly soared into the sky and flew away. In an instant he disappeared without a trace. While the Zhuo family members were in a daze, Yun Chujio sneered, all right, it's time to settle the score. Zhuo Piaoyu, today I will make your Zhuo family disappear from the Qingxian continent. Chapter 618. Who said I'm alone, huh? Yun Chujio, aren't you afraid that the wind flashes your tongue? You will make our Zhuo family disappear? 3 elders, you've worked hard. Help me catch her. Zhuo Piaoyu said with contempt. The old man who spoke just now waved his hand at the others. There's no need for you. I'll be fine by myself. She's just a little girl at the 8th level of the spirit enhancement realm. There's no need to mobilize so many people. I'm alone. Who said I'm alone? Little babies, come out. It's time for you to vent your anger. As Yun Chujio spoke, 5 huge mighty elephants appeared in front of everyone. The people of the Zhuo family were stunned. The mighty elephants were tier 8 demonic beasts. Moreover, 2 of them looked like they were on a higher tier. It was already amazing that a cultivator could take one of these high-level spiritual beasts as a spiritual pet. How could this little girl have 5? The 3 elders were also shocked and they asked Zhuo Piaoyu in shock, Piaoyu, how could she have 5 mighty elephants? Zhuo Piaoyu gritted her teeth in anger. These are the spiritual beasts of our West Peak Spirit Beast Garden. How could they all acknowledge Yun Chujio as their master? It must have been given to Yun Chujio by that old fogey Master Yuan. 3 elders, kill Yun Chujio and these mighty elephants will naturally die with her. The 3 elders felt that it made sense. The combined strength of these 5 mighty elephants was about the same as them, but the demonic beasts had strong bodies. If they really fought, they might not be their match. As long as they killed Yun Chujio, this wretched girl, these mighty elephants would naturally die as well. One of the elders attacked Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio nimbly dodged the attack and with a wave of her right hand, a purple lightning bolt shot toward the old man's face. The old man was instantly shocked and after hurriedly dodging he cried out in alarm, Heavenly Thunder Root Spirit. You actually have a Heavenly Thunder Root Spirit. Yun Chujio did not have the time to waste with him. She said to the 5 mighty elephants, little babies, don't just stand there. Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive. The 5 mighty elephants immediately began to attack the members of the Zhuo family. They had been locked up in the Spirit Radiance sect for all these years, and they had long held back their anger. Now that they finally had a place to vent, how could they stay polite? They continuously attacked the Zhuo family members with their huge trunks and ivory tusks. Zhuo Piaoyu was stunned on the spot. Yun Chujiu actually had the heavenly thunder root spirit? No wonder that old man Yuan praised Yun Chujiu so much. The sect leader and the various elders also attached great importance to Yun Chujiu. So that was the reason. This bitch Yun Chujiu had really deceived her. 3 elders kill Yun Chujiu. She has a lot of good things that the elders of the Spirit Radiance sect gave her. As long as we kill her, everything will be ours, Zhuo Piaoyu shouted from the side. Although the mighty elephant was powerful, its body was too big after all, so it was not that agile. One of the elders jumped over the mighty elephant that was attacking him and went straight for Yun Chujiu. Unexpectedly, a huge fireball suddenly hit his back. The little black bird on the tree was hiding there waiting for a sneak attack. The elder was focused on guarding against Yun Chujiu, who was in front of him. He was not prepared at all and was instantly hit by the fireball. How could Yun Chujiu let go of such a good opportunity? Several bolts of lightning struck at the elder. At the same time, the little black bird on the tree threw another huge fireball at the elder's back. The elder screamed in pain and was struck by several bolts of lightning by Yun Chujiu as he fell to the ground and died. Zhuo Piaoyu saw an elder being struck to death by Yun Chujiu and immediately cried out in fear. Second elder, third elder, fourth elder was struck to death by Yun Chujiu. Let's retreat. Chapter 619. Di Baiming is here. The other 2 elders and members of the Zhuo family were also flustered. Their attacks were basically useless against the mighty elephants. However, when the mighty elephants swung their noses, they could send people flying and stomp them into meat paste. When they heard Zhuo Piaoyu's words, they immediately had the intention to retreat. Their strength was slightly weaker to begin with. Now that one of them had died, it was even more impossible for them to defeat these 5 mighty elephants. It was better to go back to their own home and get reinforcements. Seeing that they were going to escape, how could Yun Chujiu just let them go? She suddenly leaped forward and ran straight toward the panic-stricken Zhuo Piaoyu. Originally, Zhuo Piaoyu had a few Zhuo family disciples protecting her, so Yun Chujiu was unable to make a move. Now that Zhuo Piaoyu had shouted, everyone started to panic, giving Yun Chujiu an opportunity to take advantage of. Zhuo Piaoyu already had no spiritual power, so how could she be Yun Chujiu's opponent? Yun Chujiu grabbed her by the neck. Stop right now or I'll kill Zhuo Piaoyu, Yun Chujiu shouted at the Zhuo family members. The 2 elders hesitated for a moment, then looked at each other and said to the Zhuo family members, "Let's go back to our family first. Let's go." Yun Chujiu was stunned. This Zhuo family really shared common characteristics. They were all selfish people. The Zhuo family members rode their swords and flew up. No matter how powerful the mighty elephants were, they could not fly. Yun Chujiu could only watch them escape. If they returned to the Zhuo family, it would be even harder for her to destroy the Zhuo family that day. At that moment, a white figure appeared in the sky. With a wave of his sleeves, everyone from the Zhuo family who had just flown into the sky fell down like dumplings. The huge hooves of the 5 mighty elephants immediately stepped on them. In an instant, everyone from the Zhuo family died. When Yun Chujiu saw who it was, she was both surprised and angry. She even felt a little wronged. She said fiercely, "Who needs your hypocritical help? I can kill them all by myself." Di Baiming sighed. "Little Jiu, I had important business to attend to. If you don't let go of Zhuo Piaoyu, she will soon be strangled to death by you." Only then did Yun Chujiu realize that she had concentrated all her hatred toward Di Baiming in her hands. Zhuo Piaoyu's face was purple from her strangling and was about to die. Yun Chujiu quickly let go and Zhuo Piaoyu collapsed on the ground like a pile of mud. Yun Chujiu took out a large kitchen knife and pressed it against Zhuo Piaoyu's face. "Zhuo Piaoyu, you didn't expect that the Zhuo family would be as selfish as you, did you? At the most crucial moment they didn't care about you at all. Tell me, who is the person who can help you recover your cultivation base? Why did he want to kill me?" Zhuo Piaoyu was already in despair. She knew that she would not be able to live and did not expect that she would end up like this. That young master cultivation base was so terrifying. The Zhuo family would probably be destroyed in an instant. Zhuo Piaoyu laughed maniacally. Yun Chujiu, I won't tell you. I'll make you live in fear forever. Your Yun family will be implicated by you until they die without a complete corpse. I'll make you suffer forever. That person will definitely kill you. You won't be able to escape. Before Yun Chujiu could react, Zhuo Piaoyu pounced on the kitchen knife and died just like that. Yun Chujiu stomped her feet in anger. She never expected Zhuo Piaoyu to be so afraid of death. This time she actually took the initiative to die. Yun Chujiu gritted her teeth and stood up. She stored Zhuo Piaoyu's body into her storage ring. Then she called the 5 mighty elephants into her spirit beast pouch. She sat on the chopping board and headed straight for Luoyu City. Di Baiming rubbed his nose and followed behind Yun Chujiu on his sword. Chapter 620. Cross-level killing. Di Baiming opened his mouth several times, wanting to say something, but he did not know where to start. Yun Chujiu sped ahead, not even giving Di Baiming a glance. Luoyu City was very close to Eagle Slope. After half an hour, the two of them entered Luoyu City. The Zhuo family was the dominant family in Luoyu City, so the two of them easily found the Zhuo family in the east. Yun Chujiu did not deliberately hide her whereabouts, so as soon as Yun Chujiu and Di Baiming landed, there were already members of the Zhuo family waiting for them. An old man stood in front of the group. His eyes were malicious as he stared at Yun Chujiu and Di Baiming. Are you Yun Chujiu? What did you do to our people? Are you stupid? Since I'm safe and sound, what do you think happened to them? Don't worry, I'll send you to the underground to reunite with them immediately. Yun Chujiu thought of the dead bodies and fresh blood in the courtyard of the Yun family and wanted to kill all of them immediately. If it was not for her uncle and his family not being in the residence by chance, if they did not use her grandfather as a hostage, if Chun Yu and housekeeper Ji were not lucky enough, then at this moment, Yun Chujiu did not dare to think further. If all of her family members really died because of her, she would feel guilty for the rest of her life. Therefore all of them deserved to die. None of them could be left alive. Although Zhuo Dijuan, the head of the Zhuo family, already had a bad feeling in his heart, when he heard Yun Chujiu's words he still revealed a resentful expression. Stinky girl. You have such a vicious heart. You actually killed all of them. Yun Chujiu laughed coldly. Old bastard, you don't have a shred of guilty conscience when you say that. Zhuo Piaoyu did not bring people to kill several members of my Yun family. Would I have bothered your Zhuo family for no reason? All of this is your own fault. Stop talking nonsense and accept your death. A middle-aged man behind Zhuo Dijuan suddenly pounced on Yun Chujiu. Bitch. You have to pay for my daughter's life. Di Baiming saw that the man was at the 8th level of the spirit cultivator realm. Although he was 1 level higher than Yun Chujiu, he was a good target for Yun Chujiu to practice, so he did not help. Yun Chujiu dodged the man's attack and casually threw a bolt of lightning at the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man dodged it and cried out, Thunder Root Spirit. Heavenly Thunder Root Spirit. Before he could finish his sentence, Yun Chujiu threw a few more bolts of lightning at him, not giving him a chance to catch his breath. The middle-aged man shouted in disbelief while dodging, Impossible. How can you attack continuously without forming a seal? Cut the crap. Die. Yun Chujiu accelerated her attacks. Although the middle-aged man was 1 level higher than Yun Chujiu in terms of spiritual power, he did not have the ability to fight back at all. Di Baiming nodded. It seemed that the black thing could kill people of a higher level. The heavenly thunder root spirit was indeed extraordinary. Zhuo Dijuan saw that his son was at a disadvantage and shouted to the surrounding people, Attack together. Kill them. Yun Chujiu smiled coldly and released the 5 mighty elephants. The people of the Zhuo family were frightened by the sudden appearance of the 5 behemoths. How could Yun Chujiu have contracted so many high-level spirit beasts? Zhuo Dijuan was filled with regret at that moment. It was all because of that fool Piaoyu. He actually did not know that Yun Chujiu had the heavenly thunder root spirit, and even more so, did not know that Yun Chujiu had so many high-level spirit beasts. Not to mention the man who had not made a move all this while. One look and it was obvious that his spirit power was much higher than theirs. The Zhuo family was about to be destroyed in his hands. Chapter 621. Little Black Bird who liked to plot against people. A trace of treachery flashed across Zhuo Dijuan's eyes. The only way out was to capture this bitch Yunchujio, and then he would have a chance to negotiate with that man. Although the heavenly thunder root spirit was indeed a little terrifying, he was at the 3rd level of the Spirit Emperor realm. He did not believe that he could not capture this bitch. Thinking of this, Zhuodijuan dodged the attack of the mighty elephant, and went straight for Yunchujio, who was fighting Zhuoping. Di Baiming's eyes darkened. Just as he was about to attack, he saw Yunchujio jump onto the back of a mighty elephant. She threw several bolts of lightning at Zhuodijuan. Zhuodijuan did not dare to be careless. After he dodged to the side, more than 10 wind blades shot toward Yunchujio, who was on the elephant's back. Yunchujio dodged again. Following that, several bolts of lightning struck toward Zhuodijuan. The two of them fought back and forth. At the same time, Little Black, who was released, hit on a tree in the courtyard and threw a big fireball at Zhuoping. Zhuoping did not expect that there would be a bad bird in the dark. The fireball hit his head and his hair was immediately burned up. A mighty elephant at the side saw this and swung its trunk. Zhuoping was immediately thrown out and crashed into a rockery. Little Black threw another fireball. Within a moment, Zhuoping was burned into ashes. When Zhuodijuan saw his son die tragically, he went crazy and attacked Yunchujio crazily. Although Yunchujio could challenge someone of a higher level, Zhuodijuan was of a much higher level than her. Add to that Zhuodijuan's desperate fighting style, Yunchujio could not take it anymore. She looked at Di Baiming, who acted as if nothing had happened, and got angry immediately. Gigolo, are you here to watch the show? If you're not going to make a move, get lost. Di Baiming touched his nose and felt a little happy. No matter what, the black thing finally paid attention to him. The corner of Di Baiming's mouth slightly curled up. Black thing, come behind me and give it to me. Do you want him dead or alive? I want him alive. I want to ask this old bastard who is the person behind the scenes. Yunchujio jumped behind Di Baiming and said fiercely. Although Zhuodijuan could not see the level of Di Baiming's spiritual power, he still felt lucky and threw several wind blades at Di Baiming. Di Baiming did not even dodge. Instead, he caught the wind blades with his bare hands. He curled his lips and threw them back. I'll return them to you. Zhuodijuan dodged Di Baiming's attack in a fluster. His body was soaked in cold sweat. This man's strength was simply unfathomable. Even a 6th-level spiritual emperor realm cultivator could not do this. Who exactly was he? Just as Zhuodijuan was panicking, Little Black secretly shot out another big fireball. This guy liked to trick people. Anyway, he had wings. You guys can't do anything to me. Zhuodijuan hurriedly dodged Little Black's fireball. When he saw the lightning power in the fireball, his heart was even more shocked. Was this not an ordinary fire-spitting crow? Piaoyu, this idiot is really killing me. While Zhuodijuan was distracted, Di Baiming's palm had already arrived. He slammed his palm on Zhuodijuan's chest. Zhuodijuan was instantly sent flying more than 100 feet away and fell to the ground. Zhuodijuan wanted to get up and run for his life, but he found that the spiritual power in his body was already restrained. In addition to the internal injuries, he could not get up. Yunchujio placed the big kitchen knife on Zhuodijuan's neck and said fiercely, "Tell me. Who ordered you to kill me?" Chapter 622. What's wrong with little Jiao? Zhuodijuan's face revealed a look of despair. The Zhuo family is finished. I never thought that the 1,000-year-old foundation of the Zhuo family would be destroyed by me, Zhuodijuan. One wrong step, just one wrong step. When Piaoyu came back, I shouldn't have allowed her to do whatever she wanted. I shouldn't have listened to that person's words and provoked the devil Yunchujio. At that moment, Zhuodijuan not only hated Yunchujio, but he also hated the person who instigated him from behind the scenes. Alright, since that's the case, I'll let you guys fight each other. I can't be saved and neither can you guys. Thinking of this, he gritted his teeth and said, that person didn't reveal his true face the entire time. However, there was a jade plate hanging on his waist with the image of the resurrection lily on it. Yunchujio was stunned. Another jade plate with the image of the resurrection lily? Just as Yunchujio was about to ask again, Zhuodijuan actually bit the poison hidden in his mouth and committed suicide. Yunchujio could not help but sigh a little. These Zhuo family members were really similar. They were usually very cowardly, but at the end of the day they chose to commit suicide. Perhaps they were afraid of being tortured. At that time, the rest of the Zhuo family members had been crushed into meat paste by the 5 mighty elephants. Even some of the houses had been crushed to the ground. Yun Chujio took out Chua Piaoya's body and searched through her storage ring. She did not find any valuable clues. For the first time, Yun Chujio was not in the mood to pick up the storage ring. She put the 5 mighty elephants into the spirit beast pouch and said to the little black bird, "Little Blackie, burn this place." Little Black could do this kind of work with ease. It flew in the air and kept spitting out fireballs. The Zhua family was instantly turned into a sea of fire. Yun Chujio stood outside the courtyard and looked at the raging fire. Her eyes flickered. She thought of the tragic situation of the Yun family before and then saw the destruction of the Zhua family. She suddenly felt that everything was like this fire. No matter how brilliant it would eventually return to silence. If that was the case, what was the point of struggling? Di Baiming suddenly felt the change in Yun Chujio's aura. He turned his head and saw that Yun Chujio's face was dead silent. She looked carefree. "Little Jio, what happened to you?" Di Baiming suddenly panicked. "Tell me, what's the point of living? What is the point of fighting and killing like this? You kill me today and I will kill you tomorrow. What is the point of this cycle? I'm tired. I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want my family to live in the shadow of death. I don't want to live in fear and worry. I don't want to wonder if you have done something wrong to me. I don't want to exist in this world anymore." Yun Chujio suddenly seemed to have gone crazy. After shouting these words at Di Baiming, tears immediately fell like rain from her eyes. Before Di Baiming could react, Yun Chujio sat on the chopping board and rushed into the sky, flying away. Di Baiming quickly rode his sword to chase after her. Who would have thought that under the agitation of Yun Chujio's mind, she actually erupted with unprecedented spiritual power. Even though Di Baiming had used all his strength, he still could not catch up to Yun Chujio. He could not even see Yun Chujio's shadow. Di Baiming's feelings were very complicated. He was at a loss and felt guilty. He did not know what to do. He did not know why Yun Chujio was like this. This was a place where the strong preyed on the weak. Was it not normal to fight and kill? Cultivation was against the heavens anyway, so who was not living under the shadow of death? Why did these normal things cause the black thing to have such a big reaction? Is she not usually cheerful? Why did she go through all this trouble this time? Chapter 623. What's the point of living? Yun Chujio sprinted along the road. A few of them were extremely anxious. Their master had fallen into a trance. That idiot gigolo didn't stop their master, yet if things were to go wrong he would go mad. Yun Chujio sprinted aimlessly until her spiritual power was exhausted. She no longer controlled the chopping board and allowed it to float slowly in the air. The things that she had experienced in the past 2 days made Yun Chujio let out all the pent-up energy that she had accumulated for a long time. She liked to live a carefree life and hated the days when she was bound and threatened the most. Therefore, in her previous life, after she had used all kinds of methods to become a top-level agent, she actually managed to escape and was prepared to live a carefree life. Who would have thought that she was struck by lightning and transmigrated? Her happiest days in this world were at the beginning of her transmigration. Even though her spiritual power was at its lowest at the time, and even though the gigolo would threaten her life from time to time, she did not have to constantly worry that the Yun family would meet with misfortune. She did not have to carefully guess the gigolo's thoughts, did not have to be wary of the hidden schemes of her fellow sect members, and did not have to expend all her effort guessing who was the real mastermind. Yun Chujio hugged her head with both hands and started to cry silently. The person who smiled the sweetest outside was usually the one who felt the most bitter inside. Under the cover of her funny appearance, she was afraid that the affection and love that she had painstakingly obtained would be lost just like that. They were like beautiful bubbles. A little external force would break them. If her grandfather and uncle's family died because of her this time, how would she still have the courage to face Fifth Sister and the others? Would she still have a reason to live in this world? This time she was lucky to escape. What about the future? Yun Chujio, you shouldn't have any family. You deserve to be lonely until you grow old. You shouldn't exist in this world. Yun Chujio's eyes were dead silent. Yes, what was the point of her living? She shouldn't have lived in this world to begin with. What was the point of her living? Little Blackbird opened his pizzazed eyes wide and started to cry. Master, don't be like this. If you do this, it'll feel terrible. It was as if Yun Chujio did not hear what the little Blackbird was saying. She sat there in a daze as she looked into the distance with her lifeless eyes. Little Black Bird quickly whispered to the chopping board, "You idiot, why are you flying forward? Why aren't you flying towards the Linghua sect?" Only then did the chopping board realize what it was doing. It turned around and flew towards the Linghua sect. Chapter 624. Yun Chujio had no reaction. Seeing that Yun Chujio still did not react, Di Biming said anxiously, "Little Jio, can you forgive me? If you really can't, can we have another birthday celebration? Little Jio, why don't you hit me a few times, scold me a few times, kick me a few times, as long as you can calm down? Little Jio, don't you like spirit stones the most? As long as you're fine, they'll give you all the spirit stones you want. Little Jio, I've also brought you a lot of food that you like. There's gold cupcake, braised pork ribs, steamed polar spearfish, polar mussel porridge." No matter what Di Biming said, Yun Chujio acted as if she didn't hear him, as if she had isolated herself from the outside world. Di Biming was so anxious that his forehead was covered in sweat. He spoke helplessly the entire way, but Yun Chujio still did not have the slightest reaction. A few hours later, the two of them arrived at the Linghua faction. It was already the morning of the second day. After the Linghua faction discovered that the mighty elephant had been lost yesterday, they were completely shocked. The 6 mighty elephants had been captured with great difficulty from the demonic beast forest. How could they have suddenly disappeared? Could it be that they had run out on their own? Impossible. Not to mention that they were unable to break the array formation. Even if they could escape, the 6 behemoths would not be undiscovered. They must have been stolen. Just who was it that had silently stolen the violent mighty elephants? Moreover, if the demonic beasts did not recognize their master, they would not be able to put them into a spirit beast pouch. What kind of ability did that person have to be able to silently make the 6 mighty elephants recognize their master? Yun Chujio's figure instantly flashed through Elder Chu's mind. That little girl had always had a good relationship with these mighty elephants. Could it be that she was the one who did it? Elder Chu immediately sent people to look for Yun Chujio. After searching 13 times, they still couldn't find her. Elder Chu's original suspicions had risen exponentially. That little girl had a concealment talisman on her body, and she was the best at deceiving beasts. Most likely, these mighty elephants had been tricked by her and ran away. However, why did she do this? It wasn't until the disciple guarding the door recounted what had happened in the morning that Elder Chu's heart sank. Goldface's body was covered in blood. Could it be that something had happened to the Yun family? Elder Chu immediately reported it to Master Xianyuan. Then he and Elder Shao arrived at Linghua City. As soon as they arrived at the Yun residence and saw the large bloodstains on the ground, the two of them knew that something had happened. However, the two of them were powerless. Apart from the bloodstains on the ground, there was nothing left in the Yun residence. They also did not know where little Jio had gone. The two of them could only return to the Linghua sect first and report this matter to Master Xianyuan. Master Xuanyuan's brows were also tightly furrowed. Who exactly had massacred the Yun clan? Could it be that all the members of the Yun clan had been killed? According to the guard disciple, little Jio had returned to the Linghua sect after seeing Goldface. It was likely that she had used a concealment talisman to take away the mighty elephants as revenge. Muddle-headed, she was simply too muddle-headed. This little girl didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. The other party was actually able to wash the Yun family in blood. She must have made ample preparations. If you still went, wouldn't you be walking into a trap? Master Xianyuan thought about it and sighed. The little girl was probably afraid that we would be in a difficult position. After all, the 4 great sects didn't participate in worldly disputes. However, if it wasn't possible in the open, we could do it in the dark. What a stubborn and foolish child. When Peak Master Yuan heard that something had happened to the Yun family, he felt a little uneasy. Could it be Piao Yu? If she really did it, then I would be helping the devil. He should not have pleaded for her in the first place. He should have killed her according to the sect rules. Chapter 625. I will definitely do it. When the people of the Linghua faction saw that Di Biming had brought Yun Chujio back, they could not help but be overjoyed. Just as they were about to ask about what had happened, They realized that something was wrong with Yun Chujio. This little girl had completely lost her usual liveliness. Her face was deathly silent and her eyes were fixated on nothing. There was no focus at all. Young Master D. Little Gio, what happened? Di Baiming said in a low voice. Zhuo Piaoyu sent people to kill several people from the Yun family and then kidnapped Little Gio's grandfather. After Little Gio rescued them and destroyed the Zhuo family, she became like this. What? Everyone from the Linghua sect was shocked beyond words. They wanted to ask for more details, but when they saw Di Baiming's stern expression, they had no choice but to swallow their words. Di Baiming gritted his teeth and repeated what Yun Chujio had said before she became like this. Then he asked, Elder Qi, why do you think Little Gio has become like this? After Elder Qi checked Yun Chujio's pulse, he said, sigh. Little Gio has fallen into a trance. Other than herself, no one can help her. Di Baiming had no choice but to bring Yun Chujio back to Yun Chujio's courtyard. He also sent a message to Enfeng, asking him to bring Yun Xiaotian over. He wanted to see if he could help Yun Chujio get rid of her mental demons. Although the injuries on Yun Xiaoshan's body were terrifying, they were all superficial. After consuming the medicinal pills and resting, he had already recovered. When he saw Yun Chujio in such a state, he could not help but shed tears. How could such a good granddaughter suddenly become a bloodthirsty demon? Little Gio, do you think that you have implicated us? Silly child, why would you think that way? Cultivators always fight. No matter what kind of hardships they bring, it is the only way to become stronger. If it weren't for you, our Yun family would still be a frog at the bottom of a well in Yi City. How could your fourth brother and the others enter a big sect like the Linghua sect? We didn't even dare to dream about it in the past. Silly child, while we enjoy the glory you bring us, we must also bear the risks and responsibilities. How could we blame you? Di Baiming could not help but feel a deep respect for Yun Xiaoan. Although this old man's spiritual power was low and he was not related to Little Gio by blood, he cared more for Little Gio than he did for his own granddaughter. Moreover, it was rare for him to be sensible. When Yun Chujio heard Yun Xiaoshan's words, she seemed to be moved. 2 streams of tears flowed down from the corners of her eyes. Di Baiming's heart relaxed. Little Gio was crying. Was the knot in her heart opened? Yun Xiaotian thought so too. Who would have thought that although Yun Chujio's eyes were no longer blank, she still did not say a word other than eating and sleeping. She was like a puppet. It was not good for Yun Xiaotian to further preoccupy the Linghua sect. There were still a lot of matters to deal with at the Yun mansion, so he left soon after. Di Baiming asked Enfeng to mobilize 10 secret guards of the Temple of Immortals to protect Yun mansion so that this incident would not happen again. Di Baiming saw that Yun Chujio's usually bright eyes had now become dull, and the regret in his heart spread. If he had not thought it through and recalled the secret guards from the Temple of Immortals, if he had not kept his promise, Black Thing would not have become like this. It was all his fault. Originally, Di Baiming did not think that it was a big deal that he did not come to celebrate Yun Chujio's birthday. It was just a birthday, so what harm could it do from missing it? Although at this moment he still did not understand why Yun Chujio would have such a big reaction just because he broke the promise, but he had already made up his mind. In the future, even if there was a mountain of knives and a sea of fire in the way, as long as he agreed to Blackie, he would do it. Chapter 626. Di Baiming's difficulties. Di Baiming accompanied and took good care of Yun Chujio. Yun Xiaotian, Yun Chu, and the others also came to visit Yun Chujio from time to time. However, Yun Chujio always seemed to be emotionless as she sat by the side in a daze. She had not been her usual expressive self the entire time. On that day, Xue Wuji decided to visit Yun Chujio. When he saw her like that, he was so angry that he scolded Di Baiming. Di Baiming, you heartless man. If it wasn't for your little sister, would she have become like this? You bastard. When Di Baiming saw Xue Wuji, his eyes turned red. Xue Wuji, if it weren't for you sowing discord, Little Gio wouldn't have become like this. I'll teach you a lesson today. Xue Wuji was not willing to be outdone. Di Baiming, you're being over-emotional. It's all your fault that little sister Gio has become like this. If it weren't for your fickle nature attracting bees and butterflies, would little sister Gio have become like this? Bastard. You still want to hit me? I'll beat you to death. The two of them didn't use their spiritual power. Instead, they exchanged punches and kicks. Secret Protector Hua Hua and Enfeng looked at each other. They felt that their masters were so stupid that they couldn't bear to look at them directly. An hour later, the two of them, faces bruised and swollen, snorted coldly and separated. Shui Wuji cursed Di Baiming while howling. Di Baiming, you're an idiot. Little sister Jiao is such a good girl, and you still want to participate in some bullshit consort selection banquet? Bah. How could those pretentious idiots compare to little sister Jiao? My poor little sister Jiao, how did you become a fool? Little sister Jiao, don't you remember brother Wuji? Yun Chujiao still had her head down expressionlessly, looking as if she was isolated from the outside world. Shui Wuji saw this and he became even more resentful of Di Baiming. Di Baiming, if little sister Jiao doesn't get better, I won't be done with you. Although I can't beat you, I can annoy you to death. If you make little sister Jiao suffer, it'll make you a monk for the rest of your life. Enfeng and Secret Protector Wawa's eyes lit up. Shui Wuji had such a unique style and thought process from ordinary people. Di Baiming grabbed Shui Wuji's clothes. Who says little Jiao can't get better? She will get better. She will definitely get better. Shui Wuji broke free from Di Baiming's hold. He sneered again and again. Di Baiming, you keep saying that you're good to little sister Jiao. What's good about you? If you like little sister Jiao, why didn't you tell your mother about her? Why didn't you openly let people know about little sister Jiao's existence? Why did you sneak around like a thief? Could it be that little sister Jiao isn't good enough to be seen with you? The blue veins on Di Baiming's forehead popped. Chapter 627. Our Lord reads those books for you. Shui Wuji's expression darkened when he saw Di Baiming mention the incident from back then. He said embarrassedly, you have a point. But it's your fault for breaking the promise. And those scum from the Zhou family, you should have helped little sister Jiao take care of them in advance. As a man, you should have a man's responsibility. Secret Protector Hua Hua instantly felt that her young master had become superior. She didn't expect that her young master could say such serious words. It was really rare. Di Baiming glanced at Shui Wuji. Do you think I enjoy watching those scums still doing as they like? Little Jiao's cultivation speed was too fast. She had to go through actual combat experience to do it. Otherwise, her foundation would be unstable, causing all her previous efforts to be wasted. If she didn't go through any training, her Dao core would be unstable and her cultivation would easily be stunted. There are some things that I can help her with, but she has to walk the path of cultivation on her own. Shui Wuji was rendered speechless by Di Baiming's rebuttal. He said angrily, all right, at least what you said makes sense. However, the reason why little sister Jiao is like this is still on you. If little sister Jiao doesn't get better, I won't forgive you. Hua, let's go. Shui Wuji put down his harsh words and left with Secret Protector Hua Hua. Although he did not want to admit it, he had to agree with Di Baiming's words. Yes, everything could be replaced. However, one had to experience actual battles and tribulations on their own. Otherwise, it would be easy to be shackled by one's inner demons. Di Baiming did not return to the Tianyuan continent anymore. He accompanied Yun Chujiao at all times. Not only did he prepare Yun Chujiao's favorite dishes for every meal, but he also sang a lullaby every night to coax Yun Chujiao to sleep. Every day he told Yun Chujiao everything that happened between the two of them. He even asked Enfeng to buy a lot of storybooks and read them aloud to Yun Chujiao. Enfeng looked at his lord reading out my 3,000 beautiful men's harem. All the young people in the city love me, my 61st male concubine, with a rigid expression. He felt that the situation was strange and had goosebumps all over his body. Enfeng silently cursed. Back then, the 9th Miss had been tormented by his lord. She had written love letters and letters of reflection. She had even had to massage her shoulders and legs. Now karma had arrived. Our lord had been tormented by the 9th Miss. She had either been struck by lightning on her behalf, or the 9th Miss had lost her life every now and then. This time it was even more bizarre. My poor lord, you are even willing to read such vulgar words out loud. 9th Miss, you better get well soon. Enfeng was very puzzled. Although the 9th Miss had suffered a great blow this time, she had a tenacious character. Even if she had a temporary breakdown, she would be able to recover after a short time. What exactly was the problem? What they did not know was that inside Yun Chujia's spiritual self, a purple primordial spirit was curled up in a corner. There were strands of things winding around Yun Chujia's primordial spirit. However, these things could not be seen with the naked eye. Even Mao Mao Chiu did not notice it. She just thought that her master's primordial spirit was resting. Another 10 days passed. Yun Chujia's condition did not improve at all. Other than her normal diet every day, she also had to swallow a large number of pills. Di Baiming gradually sensed that something was wrong. Although the black thing used to swallow some pills to feed the strange grass in its dantian, it would not do it so frequently. If the black thing was like this, could it be that it was caused by strange grass again? Chapter 628. Qi of Death. Di Baiming intentionally prevented Yun Chujio from swallowing the pills, so he restrained Yun Chujia's spiritual power. This way she wouldn't be able to take out the pills from her storage ring. Sure enough, Yun Chujio became restless. She kept throwing things as if she had gone crazy. Seeing this, Di Baiming confirmed his guess. This time little Jio's abnormality was definitely related to the strange grass in her dantian. Di Baiming used a voice transmission talisman to inform his master of his guess. This time his luck was not bad. The old man from Lake Tianqi actually replied in time. The old man from Lake Tianqi said a lot of things. The gist of it was that even if he took out the strange grass in her dantian, it would not be able to restore Yun Chujio to normal. Yun Chujio had to defeat the inner demons on her own. After Di Baiming heard it, even though he knew it was futile, he still said fiercely to Yun Chujia's Danon, "Dog tail. If anything happens to little Jio, I swear that no matter where you hide, I will make you vanish into thin air, never to be reincarnated." And Feng felt that if Miss Jio did not get better soon, their lord would go crazy. The strange grass in her dantian could only communicate with Miss Jio's spiritual self. No matter how fierce the venerable one shouted, the strange grass could not hear him. After warning the strange grass, Di Baiming picked up the book again and read it to Yun Chujio with a serious face. The book that he was initially against became a glimmer of hope in his heart. He firmly believed that Yun Chujio would not give up just like that. All he could do was wait. The black thing would definitely recover. Yun Chujio's primordial spirit had been muddle-headed. The harsh training she received from the Secret Service organization in her previous life flashed through her mind from time to time. The blood on the floor of the Yun residence, the fire in the Zhua family, and the grief and anger when she learned that Di Baiming had lied to her. In short, her mind was filled with negative emotions and there was not a single happy thought. The strange grass was very proud of himself. He thought to himself, this time if I don't extract the life force from your body, no one will find out that I'm the one behind this. I'll control your primordial spirit and your body will forever be under my control. You little brat, you called me a white-eyed grass. If that's the case, I'll let you see what a true white-eyed grass is capable of. Anyway, I didn't kill your primordial spirit. I only used the Qi of Death to bind your primordial spirit. If you can't break out of it by yourself, can you still blame me? A small purple ball curled up in the corner. Slowly, the painful memories of Yun Chujio surfaced in her mind again. The negative emotions such as fear and sadness no longer surfaced. She became calmer and calmer. After the strange grass sensed it, he felt that something was wrong and the Qi of Death became even more intense. Sure enough, Yun Chujio's primordial spirit was once again infected by negative emotions. This time what flashed through her mind was not fear and sadness, but raging anger. Why do I have to suffer such pain? Why am I an abandoned child in this life or my previous life? Why do I not have the love of my parents? Why do I not have a happy childhood? Why does God treat me so unfairly? Since God is so unfair, what's the point of my hard work and struggle? No matter how hard I try, I can't defeat my fate. No matter what I do, I can't change the ending of being alone. In this case, what's the point of my life? Chapter 629. Your Excellency, have you gone mad? The strange grass saw that Yun Chujio's immortal soul was once again controlled by his own deathly aura and was extremely pleased. The 4 leaves swayed back and forth. As long as there were sufficient medicinal pills, it could grow very quickly and no longer be restricted by this little brat. Days passed day by day. Di Baiming saw that Yun Chujio did not get better and became more and more anxious. The longer time passed, the more disadvantageous it was for little Jiu. Could it be that he really could not help at all? Biming racked his brains and finally thought of an extremely dangerous method. He was willing to take the risk. If he succeeded, little Jiu would recover as usual. If he failed, at most his main body would be in the same state as hers. And Feng, protect me. My main body will leave my primordial spirit and enter little Jiu's consciousness, Biming said calmly. What? Are you crazy? And Feng was so scared that he almost fainted. Your Excellency, this is not possible. If your primordial spirit leaves your body, if there is any damage to your cultivation however minor, it is very likely that you will never be able to improve in the future. Moreover, we have no way of knowing what is going on inside little Jiu's consciousness. If you enter it recklessly, if there is any unpredictable danger, the consequences would be unimaginable. Biming showed a determined expression. And Feng, I understand your concern, but if this continues, little Jiu might not wake up. I have to help her. Shui Wuji is right. I said that I like little Jiu, but I didn't do anything for her. Every time she endangers her life, I'm not by her side. This time I must help her. Your Majesty, the inner demon can only be defeated by one's own self. If you help Miss Jiu, her cultivation will also be hindered in the future. Please think twice. And Feng was so anxious that he was about to cry. A cultivator's primordial spirit would only choose to leave the body when their life was in serious danger. How could a normal person let their primordial spirit out for fun? I've made up my mind. There's no need to discuss this further. Open the isolation formation and protect me and little Jiu. After Biming finished speaking, he restrained Yun Chujia's spiritual power and sat down cross-legged. Then he began to form seals with his hands. And Feng saw that Biming had made up his mind. He could only open the isolation formation and protect the two of them. He thought to himself, "O heavens, O earth, please protect our revered Lord and Miss Jiu. If anything happens, it will be fatal." Biming's hands flew up and down, forming a few complicated hand seals. Then he placed his hands on his legs and a mini Biming flew out from between Biming's brows, directly hiding between Yun Chujia's brows. Chapter 630. Pretty boy, prepare to die. After Biming's primordial spirit entered Yun Chujia's divine sense, he immediately discovered a small purple primordial spirit curled up in a corner. The small purple primordial spirit was quietly hiding there. Biming's heart ached seeing it in such despair. Little Jiu, can you hear me? Little Jiu, have you forgotten what you said about protecting the Yun family? Didn't you promise your grandfather to look for your adoptive parents? Do you have the heart to let your grandfather be sad for you? Little Jiu, you are Linghua Sect's Yun Xiaozu, the personal disciple of Patriarch Linghua. You have the heavenly thunder spirit root that is 1 in 10,000. You are extremely smart and cute. Are you really willing to give up all of this? Yun Chujia's primordial spirit seemed to have been touched. As Biming recounted, warm images appeared in her mind. Yun Xiaoshan's love for her, her brothers and sisters' protection for her, the Linghua Sect's love for her. The strange grass leaf was trembling with anger. Damn it, has this damn gigolo gone mad? His primordial spirit had actually left his body. Did he not know that he was asking for death? Good. Since you have a death wish, then I will gladly oblige. In case you ruin my plans in the future, I'll take care of you as well. The strange grass wrapped wisps of the chi of death toward Biming's primordial spirit. Biming, who was talking to Yun Chujio, frowned slightly and revealed a pained expression. The strange grass was very proud. Little fellow, no matter how powerful you are, you won't be able to escape from me here. I'll let you two be a pair of miserable lovebirds. Ha! The strange grass laughter came to an abrupt end because he realized that Biming only paused for a moment, then continued, Little Jiu, I believe in you. You will be able to defeat your inner demons. Have you forgotten? We still have to have children together. Haven't you already given them names? The boys will be called DE and the girls will be called DE. Because of this, they will always be number one. The strange grass transferred a portion of the chi of death from Yun Chujia's primordial spirit to Biming. I don't believe that I can't hurt you. I want to see how much you can resist. Although Di Baiming kept talking to Yun Chujio, his mind was filled with memories that he was always willing to remember. Di Baiming's expression became more and more pained. The strange grass 4 leaves kept swaying. He was in an extremely good mood. He was going to get rid of this nuisance soon. From now on, my life would be even more comfortable. Pretty boy, prepare to die. The strange grass transferred more of the chi of death to Di Baiming's primordial spirit. He looked at Di Baiming's primordial spirit wearing a proud expression of extreme pain. The chi of death was to lure out things that you did not want to think about in your heart. It was to make your heart filled with darkness. If you were to be finished, then it would be your fault for not being able to defeat your own inner demons. Although Di Baiming's expression was extremely pained, his narration did not stop for a moment. Little Gio, don't you like reading those storybooks the most? I've read a lot of books to you these past few days, but you didn't listen. Don't you feel that it's a pity? As long as you wake up, I'll read the storybooks to you every day, okay? Little Gio, have you forgotten? You still have 100 top-grade spirit stones with me. Aren't you afraid that you won't wake up and I'll take them for myself? Little Gio, don't you like to draw pictures of me? If you wake up, I'll let you draw as much as you wish, okay? The little ball of purple reluctantly trembled. Only then did Di Baiming's primordial spirit fly out from Yun Chujia's brows and return to his body. And Feng saw that Di Baiming's immortal soul had come out safe and sound. He was so excited that he almost knelt on the ground. Oh God, oh Earth, God bless us. It's great that our Excellency is fine. After a quarter of an hour, Di Baiming opened his eyes and hurriedly looked at Yun Chujio opposite him. He saw Yun Chujio looking at him with curved eyes. Her eyes were no longer deathly still. They were like a pool of spring water, clear and bright. Di Baiming's eyes reddened. It was not an illusion. It was not a dream. The black thing had recovered. Di Baiming was a little puzzled after the excitement. Why did the black thing not move? After a long while, he remembered that he had prevented the strange grass from controlling Yun Chujia's. Not only did he restrict Yun Chujia's spiritual power, but he also restricted her body. He quickly undid the restriction. The moment Yun Chujio regained her freedom, she threw Di Baiming onto the ground. Prince Charming, come, give me a taste of you. Chapter 632. Flirting at the first sign of disagreement, and Feng was still thanking his ancestors. But when he heard Yun Chujio's words, he immediately ran to the corner pretending to be occupied. The Mistyou was really good. This bold and unrestrained style was what people were familiar with. However, Feng quickly turned this kind of familiarity into resentment because his 6 senses were blocked by Di Baiming. Di Baiming was stunned at first, then he waved his sleeve to block Feng's 6 senses. He curled his lips and stretched out his arm to push Yun Chujio's little head towards him. Yun Chujio originally wanted to tease Di Baiming, but she didn't expect to make things worse and fall into his trap. This guy wanted to break free, but Di Baiming wouldn't let her escape. Di Baiming flipped over and pressed Yun Chujio under his body. Di Baiming was afraid that Yun Chujio would fall, so he purposely used his arm to support Yun Chujio's head. Yun Chujio avoided his gaze and shouted, what do you want to do? Di Baiming curled his lips. Do what you want to do. Yun Chujio's thick skin instantly turned red. She stammered, I want to talk to you. Di Baiming looked at Yun Chujio's face that had turned pink. His eyes deepened and his burning lips fell on hers. After lingering for a while, Di Baiming finally picked up Yun Chujio, who was still in a daze from the kiss, and placed her on the rattan chair. Yun Chujio finally snapped out of her daze. He glared at Di Baiming. Your skills are getting better and better. Could it be that you've been practicing with some little vixen? Di Baiming used his hand to support the back of the rattan chair. He bent down slightly and said seriously, Little Gio, I'll tell you again in a serious manner. I, Di Baiming, will never have another woman in my life other than you. You never have to worry that I'll fall in love with someone else. Yun Chujio's face was blushing. Damn it, the gigolo was flirting with her at the slightest disagreement. It was so exciting that my little heart could not take it anymore. Di Baiming looked at Yun Chujio's embarrassed expression and his heart warmed up. He bent down and kissed her again. After a long while, Di Biming stood up and said in a hoarse voice, "Little Jiu, you should grow up quickly." Yun Chujiu decided to fight back. It was too embarrassing just now, so she puffed out her chest and said, "Prince Charming, don't worry. Sooner or later I will turn my little nest hair into a big bun." Di Biming's gaze naturally fell on Yun Chujiu's chest, and his ears immediately turned red. "Nonsense. How is this nonsense? Didn't you say that I should grow up quickly?" Yun Chujiu blinked her eyes and looked innocent. Di Biming coughed twice and awkwardly changed the topic. Cough. Cough. "Little Jiu, how are you going to deal with the strange grass?" When Yun Chujiu heard Di Biming mention the strange grass, her eyes immediately widened. She gritted her teeth and said, "Fuck you. I'm constantly being harmed by this white-eyed grass. It's never too late for revenge. Sooner or later I'll tear it into pieces. That white-eyed grass has too many evil schemes. Comes up with some new way to harm me each time. I'd like to see what other tricks it can come up with. I'll starve it for a few days first." Di Biming nodded. "That's all we can do for the time being. Little Jiu, let's go meet the others first. They still don't know that you've recovered, lest they continue to worry about you." Yun Chujiu nodded and said slyly, "Let's go. Prince Charming, it's just that my legs are a little weak. Carry me." Chapter 633. Can you be a little more reserved? Without a word, Di Biming picked up Yun Chujiu and rode his sword towards the meeting hall. And Feng, who had just regained his senses, could not bear to look at her anymore. "Your Excellency, Miss Jiu is obviously playing with you. When she pounced on you just now, I saw that she was full of vigor and vitality. How did her legs go soft in such a short time?" "Sigh, our lord has stumbled upon a pirate ship. I'm not afraid that Miss Jiu will be unable to take care of him for the rest of his life. It's just that the road ahead is arduous. I don't know if the two of them will be able to make it to the end. If anything happens, our lord will go crazy. Oh God, I beg of you, please bless this pair of lovers to finally get married." Di Biming brought Yun Chujiu to the meeting hall. When Master Xin Yuan and the others saw that Yun Chujiu had returned to normal, they were naturally overjoyed. Yun Chujiu proposed to go to Linghua City to visit Yun Shaotian, and Master Xin Yuan gladly agreed. Thus, the two of them immediately headed to Linghua City. Yun Shaotian saw the lively Yun Chujiu. He was so happy that tears streamed down his face. "Little Jiu, you mustn't go through this again in the future. Cultivation is naturally a dangerous lifestyle, so it will never be smooth sailing. You don't have to worry about us. Since we've enjoyed the glory that you've brought, we are ready to face the risks. If there's a next time, you're not allowed to take unnecessary risks to save grandfather. As long as both of you are fine, it's good enough for me." Yun Chujia's nose turned sour as tears fell down her cheeks. "Grandfather, I hate myself for being useless. I'm so afraid of losing you. Grandfather, I've thought it through. I will work hard to cultivate. I want to be so strong that no one dares to provoke me, no one dares to harm you. Grandfather, no matter what, don't give up. You must believe that little Jiu will save you. You must live well. In the future you have to look after the child for me and my idol." Di Biming's ears perked up and turned red. "Little Jiu, can you be a little more reserved? We haven't even gotten married yet and you're saying this. What will the old man think?" Yun Shaotian did not think too much about it. Instead, he patted Yun Chujia's little head with relief. "Silly child, it's better that I die so the family can live. As long as there's a chance of survival, grandfather will not give up. Don't say these depressing things. Tell grandfather how you got better." Yun Chujiu glanced at Di Biming coquettishly. "Grandfather, Prince Charming entered my spiritual sense to wake me up with his primordial spirit. Grandfather, don't worry, I won't be so careless next time." Yun Shaotian nodded in satisfaction. "Biming, this child has deep feelings for you. You are not allowed to bully her. You carried her here, didn't you? Is that why she looked so happy and was practically jumping around?" Yun Chujiu giggled. "Grandfather, whose side are you on? Why are you speaking to him?" "Grandfather, the reason why I am like this is related to the strange grass in my dantian, although it also had something to do with me feeling helpless at the time. Please try to recall the matter about the seed again." Yun Shaotian was stunned. He did not know about the strange grass, so Yun Chujiu told him everything. Yun Xiaotian was flabbergasted and stayed that way for a long time. A blade of grass growing in her dantian? Such a thing was unheard of. It was too unbelievable. I have never seen that seed before. It was just that when you caught Zhou that day your mother placed many things. One of them was this seed. I did not expect you to climb over it as soon as you saw it. You held it in your hand and did not let go. Later when I was packing I found that the seed was gone. However, your mother and the servant girl kept looking at you, making sure that you didn't swallow the seed. How did it end up in your dantian? Are you sure it's because of that seed? Chapter 634. Very beautiful. Yun Chujio sighed. Grandfather, although I'm not 100% sure, I'm pretty confident about it. Think about it, why wasn't I able to cultivate in the past? I grew black and thin despite a normal lifestyle, so the nutrients must have been absorbed by that seed. Yun Xiaoan nodded and then asked worriedly, Little Jiu, what should we do? This strange grass clearly has bad intentions and has repeatedly harmed you. We must get rid of it as soon as possible. Grandfather, I want to get rid of it too, but the Prince Charming's master said that only by knowing the origin of this seed can we take the next step. Do you have any clues on my mother's background? Yun Xiaoan shook his head. Your mother's memory has all been lost. Apart from her behavior and demeanor, nothing else is known. What about my mother's spiritual power? Your mother's spiritual power is the same as your father's. Both are at the 6th level of the spirit enhancement realm. If it weren't for the fact that nobody knows anything about your father's life, the Bai family wouldn't have dared to be so arrogant. Yun Xiaotian thought of his youngest son whose life was unknown, and his eyes reddened again. Yun Chujio comforted Yun Xiaotian a few times and then guessed, the spiritual power of the 6th level of the spirit enhancement realm isn't too high. Mother should be someone from the Qingxian continent. Prince Charming, don't you think so too? Di Baiming shook his head. It's hard to say. Some people may have lost a lot of their spiritual power after they suffered heavy injuries. Your mother may have suffered some heavy injuries before she lost her memory. Likely her spiritual power dropped along with it. Senior, didn't little Jiu's mother leave behind any special items? I once tried to look for clues inside, but I didn't find anything. You can try instead, you might find something I missed. Yun Xiaotian took out a few big wooden boxes from his storage ring. Yun Chujio opened them curiously. There were some clothes and some daily necessities inside. She and Di Baiming searched for a long time, but they did not find anything valuable. However, Yun Chujio found a rattledrum and waved it in her hand with a smile. This rattledrum is not bad. I'll keep it and let my son play with it in the future. Di Baiming's ears turned red. Fortunately, Yun Xiaotian did not say anything. Perhaps because he saw something and thought of his youngest son, he looked a little absent-minded. Seeing this, Yun Chujio quickly said, Grandfather, don't be sad. My father and mother are still alive. We'll definitely find them. Don't be sad. Yun Xiaotian nodded. If you like this rattledrum, then take it. You haven't had dinner yet, right? We'll get someone to prepare some food. You can go back after dinner. Grandfather, there's no need to get someone to cook. There's delicious food in Prince Charming's storage ring. Just eat some. Yun Chujio was indeed a little hungry. The three of them had dinner. Before they left, Yun Xiaotian told Yun Chujio not to be too capricious. He also told Di Baiming to take good care of Yun Chujio. In short, it was all kinds of exhortations. He wanted to give as much advice as possible. Yun Chujio felt warm in her heart. He was a fool. Before this, she had said that there was no meaning in living. He was really stupid. For the sake of her grandfather, she had to live well. Di Baiming and Yun Chujio rode their swords back to the Linghua sect. Yun Chujio was not sleepy at all. Hence, she sat in the courtyard and said that she wanted to admire the moon. My Prince Charming, isn't the moon very beautiful today? Yun Chujio asked Di Baiming delightedly as she chewed on some spirit fruit. And Feng secretly looked at the dark clouds in the sky. Not a single star was in sight, let alone the moon. Ninth Miss, are you blind? And Feng was cursing in his heart when he heard his superior's low voice saying, Yes, very beautiful. And Feng was left speechless. Chapter 635. Spring had arrived for Yun Chujio and Feng decided to obediently go occupy himself in a corner. As expected, people in love were all blind. And Feng came back to his senses and saw a luminous pearl placed on the stone table. Yun Chujio was smiling as she leaned against a recliner. His lord was like a bullied wife. He stood by the side and not only was he reading the script in his hand, but from time to time he would also pick up the spirit fruit on the stone table and feed it to Yun Chujio. And Feng's eyes twitched. Is our honored master going to become a slave to his wife? At this moment Yun Chujio felt very comfortable. She was really happy today. Prince Charming, why doesn't this stone table look like the one from before? Yun Chujio asked Di Baiming curiously. Di Baiming said uncomfortably, I accidentally smashed the one that was here before. Smashed? Why did you smash it? Who made you angry? Which blind person dared to provoke my man? Yun Chujio said angrily. When Di Baiming heard Yun Chujio's words, he felt a warmth in his heart. It's that idiot Shui Wuji. He came here to spew some nonsense, but he became obedient after I beat him up. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. Prince Charming, are you taking revenge on Brother Wuji because he told me about you? Di Baiming felt as if he had fallen into a trap. If he said that it was not true, little Jiu would not believe him. If he said it was true, it would seem that he was too narrow-minded. Moreover, it was as if he had a ghost in his heart. What should he say? Yun Chujio curled her lips. Prince Charming, there will always be a second time after the first time. If your mother pretends to be sick next time to deceive you and force you to get married, what will you do? Di Baiming's face turned serious. Little Jiu, don't worry. This is the first and last time. I will have a good talk with my mother. I will not participate in any consort selection banquets in the future. I hope so. If there is a next time, Prince Charming, don't blame me for being impolite. I will not be stupid enough to dig into the bull's horns again. If you participate again, you'll see the depths of my wrath. Yun Chujio said fiercely. Di Baiming nodded. If there's a next time, it'll be at your mercy. Yun Chujio yawned. Prince Charming, I'm sleepy. Carry me into the house. Di Baiming carried Yun Chujio into the house without hesitation. And Feng was already powerless to complain. They hadn't even gotten married yet, and our revered lord had already fallen to such a degree. If they got married, our revered lord's position would probably be even lower. From that day onwards, spring had arrived for Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio had completely become an example of what it meant to take advantage of others and torment Di Baiming in different ways. Di Baiming was completely obedient to Yun Chujio. Whether the request was reasonable or unreasonable, as long as Yun Chujio asked, Di Baiming would do it. Unfortunately, Yun Chujio's bubble of happiness was about to burst. Extreme joy turned into sorrow. On that afternoon, Yun Chujio was sitting on a recliner pretending to be a wolf. Di Baiming was reading Yun Chujio one of those special books while feeding Yun Chujio spirit fruits. Di Baiming suddenly frowned and looked up into the sky. Yun Chujio also looked up and saw an extremely gorgeous flying spirit tool flying toward the courtyard. Di Baiming frowned, and Feng, go and greet Master Xianyuan. Don't cause any misunderstandings. And Feng looked at Yun Chujio sympathetically and then went to deliver a letter to Master Xianyuan. Yun Chujio was confused by Feng's glance. Who was it? Why did Feng look at her with such a sorrowful expression? I'm here to look for her. The middle-aged woman pointed at Yun Chujio, who was pretending to not exist on the side. Di Baiming saw that the situation had come to this, so he could only say, Little Jiu, this is my mother. Mother, this is little Jiu. Yun Chujio could not pretend to be stupid anymore. She could only smile sweetly. Hello, Auntie. You're really beautiful. If Brother Baiming had not mentioned it, I would have thought that you were his sister. Di Baiming felt his heart flutter when Yun Chujio called him Brother Baiming. He suddenly felt that it was not a bad thing for his worried mother to come over. It was worth it to hear her call him that. The middle-aged woman snorted coldly. Auntie? I'm sorry, we're not that close. Call me Palace Mistress. Yun Chujio was extremely angry after being snubbed. However, she was an elder, so she could only smile and say, Palace Mistress, please sit down and have a cup of tea. The palace mistress sneered and said, You little girl, you are really scheming. Do you really want to serve your mother-in-law tea like that? Dream on. Don't even think about entering our D family. Chapter 637. You can't marry this little trash. Yun Chujio heard what the palace mistress said and wanted to vomit all over her face. Damn it. Who do you think you are? You've been finicky the moment you arrive. If it wasn't for the gigolo's sake, I wouldn't have bothered with you. Don't think about entering the D family. The gigolo begged me to enter, but I might not even want to enter. You old witch. Even though Yun Chujio was cursing the palace mistress in her heart, she still smiled sweetly on the surface. Palace mistress, since you don't like the tea that I pour, then Brother Biming, you can pour it. The lady pouted at Manager Luo, who was beside her. Manager Luo immediately took out a piece of snow-white cloth from his storage ring and spread it on the stone table. He also took out a chair that was exquisitely made. Only then did the palace mistress sit down. Yun Chujio secretly pursed her lips. She really knew how to be arrogant. No wonder the gigolo was so fussy. It turned out that he had learned it from his mother. It was really a case of the upper beam being crooked, hence the lower beam was crooked too. 1. Yun Chujio was thinking as she prepared to sit on the rattan chair opposite her when she heard the palace mistress shout angrily, "Did I allow you to sit down? Answer me while standing." Mother. What are you doing? If you have any dissatisfaction, just direct them to me. Don't lose your temper at little Jio, Di Biming said with a cold face. When she heard Di Biming defending Yun Chujio, her anger immediately dialed up 10 points, and she gritted her teeth in anger. Biming. You have really disappointed me. I've helped you find so many good girls, but you didn't even take a fancy to them. You actually took a fancy to such a thing. You have no spiritual power, no family background, and no figure. Have you lost your mind? No wonder you came to the low-class world of the Qingxian continent in the past 2 years. It was this little trash who seduced you. Where is your brain? Mother. You don't have to care about my affairs. In short, I only have little Jio in my heart. I will never marry another woman in my life except for her. Di Biming thought that since it was already like this, he would just lay it all out. You bastard. I'm your mother, I don't care who cares about you. This little trash can never enter our D family. The palace mistress was so angry that her face turned red. It was obvious that her anger was through the roof. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. You shameless old witch, speaking of your D family? Is your surname D? If you weren't Gigolo's mother, I would have scolded you to death. Mother. Little Jio is not trash, and regardless of whether she is, I only like her. I must marry her. Di Biming had a headache, and he knew that his mother would not let this pass easily. Not trash. This little girl must be 13, right? She is only at the 8th level of spirit enhancement. Isn't she trash? In the Tianyuan continent, a girl at her age is at least at the level of a spirit emperor. With her talent, she would probably not be able to ascend to the Tianyuan continent even if she was a few hundred years old. Do you want to settle down in this godforsaken Qingxian continent? In short, you cannot marry this little trash. The palace mistress did not like Yun Chujio no matter how she looked at her. Although it was gratifying that her son was finally close to a woman, it was definitely not possible for him to marry such a thing. Mother. Little Jio has the heavenly thunder spirit root, and her actual spiritual power level is at the 7th level of the spirit cultivator realm. It's just that she was afraid that her foundation would be unstable, so she didn't continue to break through. Otherwise, she would have long reached the level of the spirit emperor. Di Biming had no choice but to tell the truth. The palace mistress was stunned at first and then raised her voice. That's even more impossible. The heavenly thunder root spirit is not tolerated by the heavens, so it will definitely be wiped out. She will implicate you. I firmly disagree. If you insist on marrying this little trash, I will commit suicide. Chapter 638. The virtuous Yun Chujio thought to herself, suicide? Who are you trying to fool? You always say that you want to die, but you're actually more afraid of death than anyone else. If you can do it, why don't you show me? No wonder the gigolo was so arrogant. He had such a troublesome mother. If the gigolo was not so fussy, he probably would not have been able to suppress this mother who loved to cause trouble. She did not know why the gigolo's father had taken a fancy to such a mischievous woman back then. Was it because his eyesight was not great? However, this fellow could only complain in her heart. On the surface, she still had a perfect smile on her face. She was as virtuous as she could be. And Feng, who had just returned from delivering the letter, looked at the calm Yunchujio and then looked at the furious palace mistress. In his heart he gave Yunchujio a thumbs up. Miss Jiu is really smart. Our esteemed lord must feel very bad that she's giving him so much face. He would definitely treat Miss Jiu better in the future. Sure enough, Di Baiming looked at Yunchujio and then looked at his livid mother. He felt that his mother was really unreasonable. Mother, if you don't leave now, I will send a voice transmission talisman to father. I believe that he will be very interested in why his letters have disappeared, Di Baiming said faintly. The palace mistress' arrogant aura immediately dissipated and she said with a stern expression, Baiming, what nonsense are you talking about? What letters? I don't know anything. Is that so? It's the letters that father's junior sister sent to father. I remember when I was young I accidentally saw you. Shut up. I will leave after saying a few words to this little trash. Get lost first. The palace mistress revealed a trace of panic on her face. This little brat, if Lin Han found out that I was the one who burned those letters, he would definitely fly into a rage. Mother, if you hurt someone's life you will be punished by the heavens. Moreover, if you hurt little Jiu, I will never forgive you for the rest of my life. Di Baiming said as he stared at the palace mistress with a serious gaze. The palace mistress' heart sank when she saw the expression on her son's face. It's over. This little brat is serious. Looks like I really can't touch this little trash for the time being. I can only let her know the difficulties so she will retreat. Don't worry. I won't lower myself to kill a little trash. Move aside. I'll talk to her for a bit and then I'll leave, the palace mistress said impatiently. Di Baiming saw that there was no killing intent in his mother's eyes, so he said to Yunchujio, Little Jiu, just listen to what my mother says. I'll take care of everything. Yunchujio nodded. Brother Baiming, it's obvious that palace mistress is a reasonable person. Why would she make things difficult for me? Don't worry. Di Baiming nodded and walked to Enfeng's side. The palace mistress thought to herself, this little girl sure knows how to talk, but no matter how good she is, she just won't do. How can a trash from a low-tier world deserve such an outstanding son like mine? Don't even think about it. The palace mistress took out an isolation disc and activated it. Then she said, Little girl, do you know what I want to say to you? When Yunchujio saw that the palace mistress had activated the isolation disc, her virtuous appearance immediately disappeared. She revealed a carefree look and sat down on the rattan chair. Yunchujio glanced at the palace mistress. What do you want to say? Do you mean to say that if I leave Brother Baiming you will give me spirit stones? You can give me a number. If the price is suitable, I don't mind making this deal with you. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.